You're watching Lawndale's Community Cable Television, Channel 60. The following program has been made possible by a grant from the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation.
Good evening, fans, and welcome to another exciting Channel 60 sports presentation. This is the second round of the 1997 CIF ARCO AM/PM Division II Football Championships as the Hawthorne Cougars at home take on the visiting Ayala Bulldogs. This is a rematch of a first-round game in the 1996 playoffs, and we'll set it up in just a moment. But let's go down field side for the opening coin toss.
Okay, Ayala, you're in white tonight. You're the visiting. Hawthorne, you're in red. You're the home club. Who does the talking for the home club? For the visitors. 23, you get to call the coin. That is heads. That is tails. Tails, heads. You get to call it. If I catch it, fine. If I don't, we'll reflip it. Go ahead and give me a call, please.
Tails.
Tails, he calls. I did catch it. Heads it is. Red, you have won the toss. Red has won the toss and deferred. Okay. Which way? Okay. White will be receiving. Which way would you like to go?
Let's kick this way.
You want to kick in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Stand down here. White down there. We'll show everybody what we got. Red, you're going to be at this end kicking. White down here receiving. Man, let's have a good football game tonight.
And there you see that the Cougars won the opening coin toss, elected to defer, choosing to receive to open the second half, represented out there on the coin toss by a host of captains, including big number 76, Tony TNT Terrell. Was it not? A name we'll be calling early and often tonight, won't we, Jason?
Yeah, we sure will.
All right. Well, let's get underway again, fans. I'm Rufus Washington along with Jason Miller. It's our pleasure to be here with you on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 for this second round CIF playoff game with our own Hawthorne Cougars looking to advance to the semifinals next week, but they've got a tall opponent in this very good Ayala Bulldog team to get past tonight, Jason.
This is judgment night for the Cougars. They lost to Ayala 28-7 in the playoffs last year. Ayala returns just about everyone. That team went to the Division II championships. This team is simply awesome offensively, averaging 5 touchdowns a game. William Vea, the defensive lineman who's made big plays, and Kenny Finau, the defensive end, they're going to be really big for the Cougars tonight.
The Bulldogs, the visiting Bulldogs, they are led by their senior quarterback, Mike Frost, 6'2" senior who's completed 86 of 164 passes for 1,668 yards and 16 TDs. So obviously this is a team that's not bashful about throwing the ball, Jason. That's going to put a lot of pressure on the Cougar defensive backs. Not to mention the fact that they've got a huge returning offensive line. All of their starters along the offensive line played last year, so they're quite experienced up front.
They are sure experienced, and they have some weapons at the wide out and backfield spot. This is simply, to put it, an awesome offensive football team. And the Cougars are going to have to play a bend but don't break style. They're going to have to give up 6 and 7 here and there, but they can't give up the big long ball to Ayala. For the Cougars, though, on offense, they have to be much more consistent. They can't allow big 20-yard sacks. They've got to get the ball and move it down the field all night long to even have a chance with this Ayala team.
And as you were looking at that crowd shot of the Ayala side of the field, the visitor side, you can see that they brought an awful lot of number of people, brought the entire band with them, the cheerleading squad, obviously a team with a lot of community support. And when you're on the road as far away from home as they are, and of course we played them last year, as the fans know, up at Citrus College in Glendora, They had an excellent turnout up there, and here tonight at Hellcat Field, they have another excellent turnout, nearly matching the Cougar faithful in terms of number of people in the stands. So let's see how this unfolds as we have the opening kickoff. Gets by the up man. He finally picks it up at about the 3-yard line. Turns it up, and the Cougar special teams makes the play at the 20-yard line. Actually, it should be at about the 15 is where they're going to mark it. So Ayala will go on offense for the first time tonight.
Ayala's going to go on offense, Rufus, and this may be a game of you have to outscore your opponent. I don't think this is going to be a defensive battle. The Cougars are going to need to put points on the board because this Ayala team can. They are awesome with Mike Frost at quarterback, Matt Johnson at the running back spot. And they have some terrific wings in this wing T offense of theirs.
Well, we'll see early how much they test this Cougar defensive backfield. Opening play, they keep it on the ground. Cougars able to stuff it after a very short gain on the play.
Well, Rufus, they start off in a double tight end set, and you might wonder why teams go double tight. They go double tight end, so you can't overload the defense on any side.
And you've got an injured Bulldog down on the field. J.R. Moala, one of the Cougars, in on that defensive stop.
Ayala and those guys on the defensive front, that whole front seven, Ayala, Tuipulotu, especially the defensive linemen, Vea and Thefford, are going to have to play great ball games because this is the quickest line maybe in Division II, Rufus.
And the injured player for Ayala is number 63, Darren Carragher, a senior 6', 230-pound offensive lineman, one of those experienced linemen that they were counting on. And if he can't go in this contest, that's going to open up an opportunity for the Cougars on the defensive side.
Well, Mike Snyder's also out, and he's been one of the best players for Ayala all season long, a terrific long ball threat for the Bulldogs, but this Bulldog team has so many weapons, and the Cougars are just going to have to keep them at a minimum 5-6 yards here and there. They just can't give up anything long, and they're going to have to put, like we said earlier, points on the scoreboard. To try to see where the player got injured, you can look at him. He's down blocking. He's number 63 right there. It's just going to be a freak accident. That's a situation where guys are falling on the back of your legs and you're getting bent over backwards. That happens, but he's walking off the field, Rufus, so he may come back. But that's a break, actually, for a Cougar. You hate to say an injury is a break, but there's a break for Hawthorne.
Still early, first quarter action. 11:35 left, 2nd down 7 for the Bulldogs. They send the man in motion, inside handoff. He's in the defensive backfield now. And finally brought down for the Cougars by Keith Green, but not until he got out to the 41-yard line of the Cougars. Good enough for a first down.
Well, when you have the wing T going, you're going to have a lot of fakes. The Cougars saw De Leon go in motion there, number 4, but they just went to a counter trap off that left side. Missed tackle at the line by Thedford, and they can't miss any tackles because, as we said, Ayala can break them off and break them off big. There's the missed tackle at the line.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. Although they feature a very explosive passing attack, they've yet to show it to us tonight as they pick up another 5 yards or so on the ground.
Yeah, that's by design, Rufus. They're going to feed it to the running backs, then they're going to pull that thing out and try and go deep to one of these wide receivers.
That running back was number 22, Matt Johnson, another senior on this Ayala team.
He was the biggest running threat last year for Ayala, but now they have a lot of different offensive threats.
A very experienced-laden team. Once again, they keep it on the ground. This time they come around the right side of the Cougar line and finally brought down by Brandy Russell, but not until they picked up a first down.
This was some terrific offensive line blocking. This team runs the powers. They like this, a small line. They're an offensive line that's great, though. Take another look. They block down, come pull out on the fold block, and then you have all the angles going your way if you're Ayala. Now, the Cougars, the reason why we said the defensive line is key, they're going to have to get penetration and not let those guards pull.
And this drive started at the Bulldog own 15-yard line. Now they're at the Cougar 41. Once again, inside handoff. This time to number 20. Cougars stuff it, though, for no gain on the play.
You see why we say that defensive line penetration is big. Vea makes a big play right there. William Vea, number 55, is going to be big all night long. Take another look. Defensive line penetration for the Cougars is going to be key. See the pulling guard, but you got to disrupt that. You got to get somebody in the backfield. Vea was in the backfield. Thetford, though, is going to have to do a better job.
So it's a 2nd down and 12 now for the Bulldogs. 9:40 left here in the first quarter. Scoreless contest. It's the opening possession. They come around the right side once again. And on the tackle for the Cougars, Keith Green.
Boy, when you're not getting anyone touching the running back till he's 5 and 6 yards down the field, that's going to hurt you. But the Cougars are going to have to get that up. They're going to have to take that. They have to hope that on one of the plays in the possession, Ayala will lose some yards, something to go wrong, so that'll put them in a long yardage situation. On first down, they lost yardage. They got good yardage on 2nd down, but now it leaves a 3rd down and long.
Front four of the Cougar defensive line, led by Corey Thetford, really being challenged tonight by the running game. Once again, they fake the handoff, put it up in the air, hit the back coming out of the backfield, and he's out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
We said Kenny Finau was a key player in this matchup. He is number 7, the defensive end. You're going to take a look at what he did, and he's going to be mad at himself because this isn't a very good play. He bites off the fake, and this is just a simple out pass to the running back. What Finau's going to have to do is get to that quarterback because that was a sack if he didn't bite the fake.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs now inside the Cougar 30-yard line. Got a flag on the play. Once again, they keep it on the ground as they take it down to about the 25.
I think we're going to have too many men moving, Rufus. And if the penalty is against Ayala, which it is, it's going to be illegal motion. There's the 5-yard loss. So that's what the Cougars need. They're going to give up 6 yards. But if you get them to make a mistake, take another look. Playing it tough that time was Burrell for Hawthorne, number 6.
We talked about that Cougar front four. As I mentioned, that's Chris Perry, number 44 up front, along with Cioli, Tuipuloto, 45, William Vea, and Corey Thetford, 64. Those are the guys who are going to be challenged to make the initial hits against this very good Ayala team. Ayala coming in with a record of 9-1 overall.
Ayala likes to try the trap right here, Rufus.
Once again, a short dump-off pass here. The Cougar up, man, misses the first tackle. Finally brought down by Cioli Tuipuloto. That was number 44, Chris Perry, who could have stopped him in the backfield but let him get by.
See, that's what the Cougars need to do. They didn't stop him for no gain, but, hey, you held him to 5 yards. It was 1st and 15, so now it's 2nd down and 10, and Ayala's game plan is not where they want it. Take another look. Good block. Keys the screen, gets Finau on his knees, and Matt Johnson does a terrific job to make a loss into a 5-yard gain.
I should have said that was Teron Burrell, number 6, with the missed tackle initially there. 2nd down and 11 now. Again, he dropped back to pass, swing pass out in the flats, incomplete.
Ayala knows the Cougars have a very good offensive line, so they're going to some cut blocks. Some may think cut blocking is a dirty technique, but what it's designed to do is get those defensive linemen hands down so you can throw right over them. But they've gone to it on some running plays also that you start, after you keep getting hit in the knees over and over, you stop coming as hard, and that's probably the game plan for the Bulldogs.
So the first bit of adversity for the Bulldogs tonight as it's a 3rd and 10 now. Bearing down on him. There's a pass out in the flat, and it's incomplete.
You see what we meant? It all started with the 5-yard penalty against Ayala that put him back. Now it's 4th down because the Cougars got them all out of their game plan, and their punt team comes on, Rufus. Take a look at the pass pattern. He turned inside the receiver. He kind of faked the hitch, as a hitch and go. He actually had him beat, but it was a bad throw by the quarterback.
Good defensive coverage there, though, by Courtney Ketter with help from Jermaine Chapman. 4th. 4th and 11. Punting is Ayala. Back to receive. Jermaine Chapman. And looks like this one will go for a touchback. And it does. So the Cougars get the ball for the first time at 7:47 of the first quarter of a scoreless contest. Their defense got pushed around a little bit, but they didn't break. And we're scoreless here in the first quarter on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
We said that would happen. The defense was going to give up 5 and 6 yards a carry, but the Cougars got an early victory right there by holding them to a punt. Now what the Cougars have to do on offense is not get second down and 20s. They need to move positively this game.
So Andre Cummins brings the Cougars up to the line of scrimmage for the first time tonight. He dropped back, pump fakes, looking long, goes long. He's got Jermaine Chapman, who tripped over the 45-yard marker and fell down.
That's a catch if he doesn't trip, because Chapman had the defensive back beat, and the Cougars, we usually see them go to the hitch at the first play of the game. They did that the last 2 or 3 weeks we saw them. This time they go to the long pass on first down.
And if we can get a picture of that Cougar offensive line, there you see big number 76, Tony TNT Terrell, who's going to be anchoring that line. It's going to be important that they provide coverage and give Andre Cummins the kind of time that he's going to need in order to make the in order to make the plays. And Terrell's a big offensive lineman. They go around the other side, away from Tony's side, pick up about 5 yards on the play. Actually, they pick up a first down on second effort by Tui Piloto as he takes it out to the 30-yard line.
The Cougars are going to be able to move the ball against Ayala, but they're just going to have to put the ball into the end zone. But Ayala, if they do have a weakness, it is their defense. They're a bit small and not as quick as the Cougars. Cougars always well coached along the offensive line. They do a good job by sending a man in motion here, and a quick pitch. Look at this. It was almost disaster, but good job by Tui Piloto.
Once again, the Cougars keep it on the ground, this time for a very short game.
We threw a hissy fit last week because we didn't think Brandy Russell was getting the ball enough, but it looks like early on they're going with Tui Piloto and Russell, as we've yet to see Echema. But what the Cougars are going to have to do is go with a combination and stay with it to get some cohesiveness going along with their offensive line.
So we've got a 2nd and 8 here, 6:40 left in the first quarter. Cougars' first drive of the game. So far they've picked up a first down. Here's a pitch back to Russell. Russell looking to cut it inside. No running room there.
That was some good defense. Those defensive linemen and ends, they just held the blockers, held them up, and kind of scraped along the side. Actually, I think if you're going to give it to Russell, you got to give it to him up the middle. Echema's your sweep man, but instead they're going to give it to Russell. These defensive ends for Ayala do a terrific job. Look at them, hold their blocks. Reed, 29 takes on 2 blocks and causes a no-gainer for the Cougars.
So it's a 3rd down and 7 now for the Cougars. They keep it on the ground. Going to be way short of the first down. Bring up a punting situation for them.
Some might think that Dan Robbins might fake it here, but I don't think so, because you're at your own 36-yard line. This is a field position game. You're playing against a high-powered offense. Anytime you can back them up, you've got to. And they don't even have any guy back deep to receive, Rufus.
Caven Jackson with the punt for the Cougars. Gets away a beauty if the Cougars can cover this. Not sure that, well, actually they are, and they do inside the 10.
I know the Cougars like to fake punt, Rufus, but Ayala tried to play it safe by not sending back a deep man, but that hurts you. You sell out on the fake, and then you have the guy at the ball now at the 10-yard line.
Number 20, Lionel Lawrence for the Cougars with the good special teams play to get down and cover that before it went in the end zone. Saved them about a net of 11 yards. 55-yard punt there for Caven Jackson, one of his best of the season. So it's a 1st and 10 now for Ayala inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. They keep it on the ground once again, and the Cougar defensive line responds to the challenge as they hold them to a gain of maybe 1.
Ayala has to go 90 yards now for a touchdown due to the great punt by Jackson. So the Cougar defense is just going to have a bend but don't break style. Don't blitz too much. Don't give up the big stuff. Just play your game and make some plays.
So it's a second down. They show 7 on the scoreboard. Looks more like a long 8. Scott Frost, their quarterback, number 10. Once again, they keep it on the ground.
Cougars are missing a lot of tackles at the beginning of the attack, Rufus. And Johnson is doing a terrific job of bouncing off of the blockers and missed tackles for positive yards. That's 2 plays in a row. He should have been stopped for nothing and got extra yardage. Take another look. Johnson's going to get it. He bounced off extra tacklers and almost got his team a first down.
And there you saw big number 63 for Ayala, who was injured on their opening drive. Darren Carriger back in the ball game on the offensive line for them. So it's a 3rd down and 1 now for Ayala. Once again, they keep it on the ground. Second effort gives them the first down. That's number 22, their feature back, Matt Johnson, with the carry.
The Cougars have got to wrap. You are now in the playoffs. You're playing against college-type backs. You're going to have to wrap. Take a look at the tail end of that, Teron Burrell. We take a look at the fact that on the previous play, the Cougars weren't wrapping. They didn't wrap on that last play either.
So it's a 1st down and 10 now for Ayala out at the 24-yard line. Their own 24, that is. This drive started at their 9. Again, they keep it on the ground with quick handoff. Cougar defense there to stop it. A couple of Cougars led by number 55, William Vea.
That play, though, we said Finau would be key. He messed up a little bit earlier, but he makes a good play right here. Take a look at him. He's number 7. He's going to come into your picture. He's going to take on the lead block and squeeze the hole that much smaller for Johnson to run through. And good job made by the other Cougars to round him up.
So it's a 2nd down and 9 now. We've got 3 minutes left here in the first quarter. Scoreless contest so far between the Cougars and the Ayala Bulldogs. Frost dropping back to pass, got lots of time, and throws in the vicinity of no one, quite frankly. Threw out in a big old hole over on the left side. Nearest person to him was guys on his own sideline.
The reason why Johnson is getting so much time, he has a great offensive line, that's a given. But with all of the counters and the fakes that he's been running all day, that's kind of stopped the charge of the Cougar defensive ends and middle guys. I wouldn't be surprised to see them run a trap right here, Rufus.
Well, it's a 3rd down, 3rd and 8 for the Bulldogs now. Pressure by the Cougars, pass complete. Picked up the first down out at the 45-yard line. Big hit put on by Jermaine Chapman, but not until after. Number 7 makes a beautiful catch for Ayala, enough to give them more than a first down. That was Billy Wagner on the reception.
Nice play by Wagner, but a nice play by Frost. Standing in his pocket, steps up like a big-time quarterback and shows some skill threading the needle right there between a few Cougars. And there's a big 3rd down play, Rufus.
And the experience of that offensive line becoming a factor on that play. So it's a 1st and 10 at the 45. It's time to go around the left side. Boy, that was Jermaine Chapman holding on for dear life, but Matt Johnson broke away from him, picked up another first down as they go into Cougar territory at the Cougar 40-yard line.
That's a good offensive line, and if you're on the field too long, it'll wear you out. That's what happened right there. The Cougars on their heels right now don't know what to expect because Ayala's throwing a lot of different things at them.
And here you'll see the Ayala offensive line coming to play. There you see them blocking down all the Cougars, and it takes the defensive backfield to come up and make the play. And Matt Johnson there just carrying Jermaine Chapman, who was holding on for dear life, enough to slow him down to give a couple other Cougars an opportunity to get there. And even though we talked and emphasized at the outset very much the passing game of Ayala, right now they're starting to assert themselves, Jason, on the ground.
and the Cougars look exhausted, and we're only in the first quarter. Look at those Cougar players, hands on their sides and all of that. But this offensive line is really starting to assert themselves.
And let's remember that this drive started at Ayala's own 9-yard line. They're now at the Cougar 30-yard line. Cougar defense held them the last time they got down this far. Once again, they keep it on the ground. Quarterback Frost calls his own number.
Oh, man, if he'd have kept it with the fullback, that could have been 6 because Johnson was untouched, bellying off to up the middle, and they just tried to go with the option. The Cougars do a good job defending it. But here's a hard play if you're the D coordinator, what to call if you're a Cougar fan, because 3rd and 2, just about any play in the playbook is usable here.
So a big 3rd down play here for the Cougar defense. Cougars playing up tight on the line of scrimmage. They keep it on the ground. Looks like they're going to have enough for the 1st down, and they do. As they go inside the 30 down to about the 28. Be 1st and 10 for Ayala as their drive stays alive.
This drive is starting to be a long drive, Rufus. Is first quarter with only 40 seconds left. The Cougar defense just giving up 5 and 6 yards here and there, but the big 3rd and 15 pass hurt him.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. Frost, the quarterback, with a single back, drops back to pass, steps up in the pocket, calls his own number, and you may have had a possibility of a late hit there, no flag by the officiating crew.
Johnson, as a great quarterback, can do a lot of things, but I don't know if I want my big strong-arm quarterback running quarterback draws. A lot of running plays have been working for Ayala. I think it's a bad call. Running plays were working. The Cougars do a good job with Fanua.
There you saw Fanua come in real late at the end of that play, though. Fortunate break for the Cougar defense that no personal foul was called on that. And now we do see an official mark off. Let's see what the signal from the official is. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I was talking about a second ago, Jason, and they did pick it up. Flag must have been thrown on the other side. You see the scoreboard there, 11 seconds left in the first quarter. Scoreless contest. But the Bulldogs of Ayala are knocking on the door as they're down inside the 15 at the 13.
You can't have that. That's a big play. That hurt Ayala right there.
And that's the end of the first quarter, fans. So after 1 quarter on the Tony TNT Terrell Network, we've got a scoreless contest as the Bulldogs of Ayala right now pushing the Cougars around a little bit. Second quarter action be underway momentarily right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
So the Cougars have been getting up 6 and 7 yards here and there, but the big plays have been that personal foul that just happened against Hawthorne and the 3rd down and 10 completion for a 15-yard first down. Without that, the Cougars have played an outstanding defensive game, but big mistakes in big playoff games, you won't move on.
Well, as you mentioned, that was definitely a bad break for the Cougars there on a bad decision by Fanal on the late hit. Let's see how much it ultimately hurts the Cougars. There you see a lot of the crowd support. A lot of Cougar faithful here tonight, the day after Thanksgiving. I trust that you and your family had an enjoyable holiday yesterday.
Yep, about 20 pounds worth.
Well, the winner of tonight's contest goes on to face either Antelope Valley or Dominguez. Make a long story short, it just gets tougher next week for whomever. We'll talk about that game a little bit more in a little while. Once again, they keep it on the ground. This time stopped after a very short gain on the play. That was Corey Thetford, number 64, in there. And now the Cougars, there you see Corey on the screen, 6-foot senior. Another thing I noticed that the Cougars have done, and I know we've called his name quite a few times tonight, but it does bear noting that Tony Terrell does not typically play along the defensive line with any degree of regularity.
I think he plays in their gold line front, and looks like that's the defense that they're going with right here, Rufus.
They're looking to put some size on size against this experienced Ayala offensive line. There you see it giving protection to their quarterback. Throws inside on his receiver who was looking outside. Pass incomplete.
Anton Cameron was the man he was going to, number 20. He was open early. Frost didn't see him because he had Big Final's grill up in his face. And Anton Cameron, number 20, he was wide open. There he is. He was open, headed towards the pylon, but the quarterback didn't see him. So it's third down now for the Bulldogs. The Cougar defense has been what we said that they had to do, bend but not break.
Ball spotted at the Cougar 12-yard line.
How'd you like to look at Big 76 in front of you if you're the center?
Wouldn't like that. A big kid. Tone Terrell, 6'3", 295 pounds is how he's listed in our program. And now we've got a timeout being taken by the Washington State-looking Ayala Bulldogs.
And speaking of Washington State, that's where the quarterback Mike Frost is leaning towards going, Rufus. But the Cougars, with that goal line front, the Cougars may want to put in more of their regular front against Ayala. You have more defensive backs in, not as many defensive backs and linebackers in this front for the Cougars. It's third down and long. I don't think that they're going to try and muscle you.
And speaking of Washington State, that's the Rose Bowl bound Washington State Cougars.
How about your Trojans last week, Rufus?
Man, I'm looking forward to the Rose Bowl this year. I think the Cougars are going to bring a great deal of excitement. It'll be a whole lot of fun seeing the Cougars in the Rose Bowl.
There's, you look at Ayala. We went to cover the Hawthorne Ayala game last year, man. Those people were there 2 hours before the game tailgating. They take their football seriously in Chino Hills. NFL might be thinking about relocating their LA team down there.
And there you see the kinds of numbers, folks. That's a pan shot of their faithful who've made a very long trip down here to support them. That's about a 40, 50-mile trip for them. But that's what you're expecting. That's what you want to see. That's the kind of support that makes a program successful. And it certainly gives the edge to their players. As we come back on a 2nd and 9 play, see Frost bootlegging right, finally puts it up, and it's incomplete. A drop pass, hit his receiver on the money. If you're the quarterback, Frost, you can't do it any better than that. He put it right in Jerry Miranda's hands, but Jerry Miranda, the inexperienced sophomore, doesn't make the play.
But Frost has guys open early. Once again, I think he holds on to the ball just a little bit too long. Take another look. Frost fakes it to Johnson, and he has him open there. Then he has two guys outside of our screen dragging across the middle. He has one of them open underneath, and he tries to go to the long man, and they were just a bit too long.
Oh, I'm not sure about that, Jason. I mean, I hit him on the shoulder pads. The freshman or the sophomore should have made the play there. Cost his team a touchdown. Let's see if it cost them points. The snap was mishandled, but they get it down, and they get it through. So, at 11:06 of the second quarter, Ayala goes on top, courtesy of the field goal, by a score of 3-0.
Another moral victory, though, for the Cougars. They did not give up the touchdown. They are bending, but they are not breaking. That was a terrible snap on that last play. That was a good job by the holder to get that thing straight. But the Cougars may look to go big time here because they have some some returners that can take it the distance.
So the drive that started on their own 9-yard line for Ayala culminates in a 27-yard field goal.
Let's see. Looks like Tui Pelotu and Jermaine Chapman are back there for the Cougars.
And you're right, Pelotu over on the right, Jermaine Chapman here on the left side. And they kick it short. It's going to be taken by number 5, Courtney Ketter. And Ketter's going to go down at the 30-yard line where the Cougars will set up for their second drive of the night with 11:02 left here in the first half. They trail by a score of 3-0 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
Hey, it's not that that kicker can't kick. It's just that Ayala knows about these Cougar return men. So they said, we're going to just give you good field position. We're not going to let you take it all the way. Now we see Etchema for the first time with Brandy Russell in the backfield, Rufus. That gives the Cougars more speed from sideline to sideline.
Andre Cummins, number 3, under center at quarterback. Etchemer and Russell in the backfield with him. They fake it to Etchemer. Cummins drops back. Cummins looking for somebody. Eludes one tackler. Has to make a decision now. Apparently decides to run it. And he's going to be brought down behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 1 on the play.
Well, we saw that last week. Cummings held on to the ball, and it looked like he wanted to run from the get-go. There it was again, Rufus. He had guys running out across the field. Don't know if they were open or not, but hey. Take a look at the field goal snap. This is a horrible snap. It, like Peanut League kickball right there, but a good job by the holder to get that thing straight. Let's give him some props. That was Andy DeLeon holding the ball for Ayala.
So it's a 2nd down and 11 for the Cougars now. They send number 1 and Russell in motion to the left side. They throw over that way. Brandon makes the reception. It's going to be brought down at the very short gain as he gets out to about the 34-yard line. It's going to be 3rd and 6 now for the Cougars.
Ayala's running a zone. The Cougars might think about flooding it. When I say by flooding it, they might want to put 2 or 3 guys in around the same area to outnumber the Ayala defenders, because the Cougars are used to going against man-to-man defensive teams. You can tell by all the motion that they're running, but this is a strictly zone Ayala defense.
Haven't had an opportunity yet for the Dan Robbins-led Cougars to go into their bag of tricks. Ayala's forced them to play pretty honest here so far. This time to keep it on the ground to Joe Etchemer. It's going to be stopped way short of the 1st down. It'll be a 4th and 5 coming up for the Cougars, an obvious punting situation.
It's harder to run trick plays when you're going against a zone defense because they're not keying a particular man. They're keying an area, so you usually don't get missed assignments. Now this time, though, they send 2 deep returners. Fake.
Oh! There you see the fake play. The fake punt attempt. Pass intended for number 6 of the Cougars.
Teron Burrell, Rufus. He was open early, but Cummings, the quarterback, you see him ask for it. That's what I knew it was a fake there. But Cummings floated that thing. If he'd have thrown it on the line, and if Burrell wouldn't have took off, Burrell should have stopped at the marker. They would have had a 1st down. Now they give Ayala great field position, Rufus. Oh, no.
And that had 6 points written all over it if the Ayala defensive man makes the play on that. So it's a 1st and 10 for Ayala. That pass incomplete, intended for his receiver over on the right side, number 20, Antoine Cameron.
Well, you see Ayala going deep here on 1st down, incomplete. So for the Cougars now, 2nd and 10. So they get a little bit more of a chance to stop Ayala right here. I got to think Ayala's not very happy with how the last 2 drives ended for them, with a field goal and nothing out of it, with long drives.
Ball spotted at the Cougar 36-yard line. They turned it over on downs. They keep it on the ground. They pick up the 1st down with the carry, Matt Johnson.
They run that right up the gut of the Cougars right there. Believe it was a trap. And there you see Johnson right up the middle. The Cougar linebackers being shielded off by this Ayala defense. They like to run cross-buck blocking and pull guys and a lot of stuff with angles, so it's giving the Cougar linebackers some trouble. We haven't seen Muala in on many tackles.
That was Kaven Jackson, number 12, able to get a hand in there and help bring down the running back. 55, William Vale with the tackle for the Cougars there.
That's what stops with pulling plays right there, Rufus. It's hard to pull when you get penetration. And what gets you penetration? Blitzes get you penetration. Good job by the Cougars on the blitz. Allowed Vea to get open free. But when you blitz, you free yourself up for giving up a big pass to the tight end right over the middle.
2nd down and 12 now for the Bulldogs. Cougar defense being challenged here. And again, they keep it on the ground. Some initial contact there by the Cougars slows him down. Could have thrown him for a loss. Instead, 2nd effort, he picks up about 3 on the play.
All right, the Cougars blitzed again right there. If I was the Cougars, I wouldn't blitz a 3rd time because they'll be expecting it. Take a look. the pulling again. Look, the guard can't get around. 55 can't get around because it's so much penetration. All you see is Cardinal and goal of the Cougars.
Cougars getting a lot of penetration along the defensive line. Unfortunately, the back is getting past them before they're able to make some contact. There's a swing pass out.
That should be a fumble,
incomplete.
Rufus. Well, Rufus, it looked like he threw the ball behind him. I wonder if we could take a look at the replay on that one, Rufus, because it looked like the quarterback threw it backwards, which would have been a fumble, but the officials call it incomplete.
So it brings up a 4th and 10 now for Ayala.
Take another look quickly. The quarterback, Frost, look, he's 3 yards. Hey, that ball was thrown behind him, Rufus. Ayala got away with one. They're going for it, though, on 4th and 10.
So Ayala goes for it on 4th and 10. Their quarterback, Frost, drops back the pass. Here's his pass to the right sideline, complete. Boy, they pick up the first down. He got just beyond the first down marker. Good running there by the receiver to know exactly where he had to get to. Made the first down, turned around, and made the reception.
Anton Cameron does a good job. The Cougars almost had a sack. I believe it was Vea who was in the face of Johnson right there, but Johnson does a great job. Nice strong arm quarterback, nice to have. Good route ran by Cameron right to the sideline, gets him a first down.
Before Tui Piloto forces him out of bounds. Tough break for the Cougar defense there. Once again, they keep it on the ground. This time, no gain on the play.
I tell you, the tough break came 2 plays ago, Rufus. It was a fumble off of the hitch pass, off of the swing pass that was thrown behind him. It wasn't called, so that comes back to hurt the Cougars, and something that the coaching staff, I'm sure, will be complaining about.
There you see, we've got 6:35 and running here in the second quarter. Ayala leading by a score of 3-0, but they're knocking on the door again, courtesy of trick play for the Cougars. It didn't work on their own. I think this drive started at about their 45-yard line, where the Cougars went for it on 4th down. Didn't make the play, and Ayala took over on downs. Now they take the timeout as they look to set it up. They're at the Cougar 15-yard line, inside the 15. We're at 2nd down and 10 for them, right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
Well, next week, Dominguez and Antelope Valley in the last 2 years, I believe they've played each other about 3 times. And they go at it tonight, Rufus. So next week we'll either be here at Howcap, maybe in Compton for Dominguez, or we might have to go to Antelope Valley. So we're cheering for Dominguez, who was last year's Division II champions. But the Cougars got to get out of this one alive.
And the Cougars have been quite fortunate in terms of the 97 playoff season and having their first 2 playoff games at home. Makes a heck of a difference. Last week, as we were talking earlier before the contest, when they played Paramount 2 years ago in Paramount, they avenged that defeat by beating Paramount here last week. Of course, last year they played Ayala at Ayala's home field up at Citrus College. Ayala handed them a defeat on the road, but this year you've got them at home with a chance to return the favor in front of your home crowd. So you're going to need the Cougar faithful to step up also and become the Big 12th man for the Cougars today. Yeah, I mean, what's the need for home field if you can't take advantage of it with your crowd support? So it's a 2nd down and 10 now for Ayala. Here's another pass out in the flat. Frost just missed it on those quick hitches out in the flat, Jason.
Yeah, he's just missing, but I can't get over how Ayala got a break on the hitch pass that was thrown behind the receiver that was called incomplete. But the Cougars going with their goal line defense again. Big TNT, Tony Terrell in there, right over the nose, right over the center, and the quarterback can't wait to get back in the pocket away from Mr. Terrell.
With him and Corey Thefford and Fanau up there and William Vea, an awesome defensive line for the Cougars. They put some pressure on him, they let him get away, makes the reception down near the first down marker, but I think just inside of it. Be a decision here for the Ayala coaching staff now, because this should be 4th and maybe half a yard.
This is a great play by Frost, the quarterback. Look at him get past Kenny Fanau, step up in the pocket. Look at those guys. There's 2 Cougars over there. They're not getting any penetration. That's Thedford and number 76, Terrell. There's right there on the line. They got to start pushing the pocket. Here it is, big 4th down.
And it's a 4th and 1, and the Bulldogs show that they're going to go for it. And they do. They keep it on the ground. Looks awfully close. I believe the indication will be that they picked up the first down. The Bulldogs certainly think so. As we wait for the official indication from the referee, the guy in the white hat.
Looks like he got it from here. Now they're going to measure. So high drama once again from Halcap. Last week we had the field goal with no time left that was missed by Paramount to lose the game. But this is a big play for the Cougar defense once again. They've had 2 victories, giving up a field goal and no points. Here's another big victory type play right here. Another big battle they can win.
And they've picked up the first down by the length of the football and then some. So it'll be 1st and goal for Ayala.
Cougars need to stop here. They don't want to go down by 2 scores. If anything, they want to just give up a field goal right here.
Well, this is inside the Cougar 5-yard line down near the 4. They keep it on the ground. Good defensive stop that time by the Cougars. As you were saying, Jason, I think so well put. If you're the Cougars, you want to contain the damage to a field goal if at all possible.
Stop the bleeding quickly, but I think Ayala needs to go to Matt Johnson, number 22. He has gotten the yards for them up between the tackles, and I think that they'll be giving him the ball right about now.
And that's the very best along the defensive line that the Cougars have to offer there with Corey Thetford and Burrell. And there you see 55, William Vea in on the tackle for the Cougars.
Vea has simply been an awesome defensive lineman for the Cougars over the past few weeks. I'm surprised Ayala hasn't given it to Johnson down here close to the goal line. Take another look. Vea, the defensive lineman, coming all the way from the other side of the field. Hey, that's what hustle does for you. He scores if Vea doesn't get over there. Good job by William.
And it's a 3rd and goal now for the Bulldogs.
They got to stop him here because I think they'll kick a field goal if they don't get it, Rufus.
Cougar defense playing tough so far, being challenged. They've been on the field an awful lot. There's a pass out in the flat, touchdown. Well, they kept working and warmed down a little bit at the time. Some like water torture, and finally the Cougar defense breaks there, but giving them a hand. They've been on the field an awfully long time against a very, very good offense, and they held up as long as they could.
That battle won by Ayala, looking wide open coming out of the backfield was Antoine Cameron, and a little bit of flossing after the play right there. Surprised he didn't get a flag thrown on it. Battle won for Ayala. Cougars have won 2. They've won 1.
Here's the extra point attempt. It's up, and it's good. So with 4:11 left here in the first half, Ayala leads by a score now of 10-0 over the Cougars.
So Ayala's happy, Rufus. They're up 10-0. The Cougars have got to start to putting the ball up just a little bit more in the air on 3rd down. They've ran it on 2 third downs early here in the game. But now with 4:11 remaining in a half, the Cougars really need a score on this drive.
And there you see our score, Ayala 10, the Cougars of Hawthorne nothing. Fortunately, we're still in the first half. Cougars have plenty of time to right the ship. But one thing's for sure, you don't want to take on any more water at this point. So we'll see what the Cougars can do here in the last 4:11 of the first half. Back to receive for them. Tuiapiloto along with Jermaine Chapman. And this time they're going to let Tuiapiloto handle it as he finds a hole. Comes back up the middle, has some running room, just has to beat the kicker. Now it's a question whether they'll catch him, and they do bring him down from behind, but not until he gets to the 35-yard line of Ayala. Great kickoff return there by Sioli Tuiapiloto for the Cougars. Gives them excellent field position here.
Sioli Tuiapiloto just went straight down Inglewood Avenue, Rufus. We wonder why we call him the bus. He doesn't make a stop on this run. Take another look. The Cougars have a nice wall set up, big time wall, and a big hole for the bus to just ramble right through. and the Cougars are in great position.
55-yard kickoff return for Tui Peloto there, and that brings the Cougar faithful back into it. They give it to Joe Etchema. He goes around the right side. It's going to be stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
Etchema's having a tough time of it because that Ayala team knows the Cougar. They know that the Cougars like to sweep it, and they're coming up hitting at the line, but the Cougars need to make something of that big return by Soeli Tui Peloto.
They give him a gain of 2 on the play, makes it a 2nd down and 8. Etchema actually hasn't had very many touches tonight, and like all good running backs, need a few touches to find his rhythm. They fake the toss back to him. Now they go over the middle, and pass incomplete, intended for Jermaine Chapman as he was cutting across the middle. Looked like a good throw there.
That was a good throw. I think Ayala or Chapman knows they're going with the zone right there, and we're going to take another look at the replay and see if that was a catchable ball. They ran this against Lusinger. It was the fake pitch and then the slant. Nice throw put in by Cummings, and you got to lay out for that one, a big Chapman.
So it's a 3rd down and 8 now for the Cougars, and it looks like they're going to take a timeout here, and the Cougars do signal for timeout.
I don't like to say that anybody was scared, but on that play right here, you got to make that play in the playoffs. You got to give your body for that one. You got to dive or do something because that was a catchable football.
I'm not sure it was fear there, Jason, but I think he decided he'd rather live to see another play.
Well, you're not going to live to see another day if you don't win big, if you don't convert and win this one, Rufus. The Cougars, this is a key 3rd down and 9 for them. That was a play that they thought they can convert off of. They thought they can get something out of that slant, fake pitch slant. And the Ayala Ball Club on pass defense has really done a good job. As the Cougars, I don't believe they've completed a pass all game, and we're deep into the 2nd quarter.
And we've got 3:18 left here in the 2nd quarter with Ayala leading by a score, 10-0. All their scoring has come here in the 2nd quarter. Cougars set up in great field position by Soeli Tui Peloto with a 55-yard kickoff return that put the ball at the 35 of Ayala. So far, the Cougars have only picked up 2 yards on this drive. Here's a pitch back to Joe Etchema. Joe looking for the corner, finds the corner. He's got a defensive man to beat, gets by him, but he's going to be short of the 1st down. Looks like he got down to about the 30-yard line.
I got to think that the Cougars are setting up that old pitch pass, Rufus. They've been going with a pitch. And there's another 3rd down, by the way, that the Cougars have ran the football. So the Cougars don't look that confident in their passing game. They're going for it, though, right here on 4th down, 6.
4th and 6 for the Cougars. They need to get down to the 25-yard line. Right now, they're at the 31. And it looks like we're going to have another timeout taken here on the field. And it's going to be taken by the Cougars with 3:11 left here in the 1st half. They're looking to make this a productive drive as we take a break on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. All right, we're back to live action, fans. Here's the Cougars' 4th down play on the 4th and 5. Cummins drops back to pass, goes in the flat, back to Chapman, hits Chapman. Boy, this is going to be awfully close, and it'll depend on the spot. Looks like he's going to get the benefit of a good spot here.
I don't know, Rufus. It looks like he had to get on the other side of the 25-yard line. Big play, though, by Chapman. He didn't actually go for it, didn't give his all on the slant, but he makes a big 4th down and 6 reception right here. The only question now is, was it enough for the 1st down?
Well, this is another one of those measurement situations, and yes, they are. A huge measurement here for the Cougars. This is going to be awfully close. Trying to get in here, fans, and see if we can give an idea of just how this stands.
They got it.
And the indication is that they do. We see the signal from the Cougar sideline indicating that they picked it up. We couldn't see by how much, but I can guarantee you it wasn't a whole lot, Jason.
All right, Rufus, that's a big play. There's a victory won by the Cougars. Big first down play by Chapman and a big play by Cummings, the quarterback.
So the Cougars keep their drive alive.
You talk about keeping the drive alive.
With 3 minutes left here. Ball's at the 25-yard line. Russell and Etchemer in the backfield. They give it up. They fake it to Joe Etchemer. Now Cummings has to make a decision. And once again, Andre Cummings makes a bad decision to hold the ball as he did a couple of times last week. And he gets eaten up for his troubles this time. A loss of 10 on the play.
Cummings had Jermaine Chapman wide open. 10 yards. Look to the top of the screen. Chapman is wide open. Cummings has got to get it to him. He sees him. He has got to get him the ball. That is a big mistake made by the quarterback for Hawthorne.
So it's a 2nd down and 20
Didn't we say that at the top of the telecast, Rufus, that the Cougars couldn't allow themselves to lose big yards on sacks like that? The momentum of the first down has just really been taken out of the Cougars right now.
Well, one thing about Andre, we know he's got the arm. Let's see if he can get it back on this play. There's a pitch back to Joe Etchemer. Halfback option. And Etchemer swings it outside while Kaven Jackson was turning inside on the play. So it falls harmlessly incomplete.
Well, we said that the Cougars were setting up the pitch pass, by pitching it so much early. Didn't come through, though, for Hawthorne. And now it's 3rd down and 20. Poor Cougars.
So the Cougars go into the playbook looking for the 3rd and 20 play. Ball spotted at the 35-yard line. One would seem to think we're out of field goal distance. Of course, a nice pickup here, even if you're short of the first. A nice 10, 15-yard pickup could give them a field goal opportunity. Russell and Etchemer in the backfield. They fake the handoff. Cummings drops back to pass. Cummings pulls it down, decides to run it himself, takes it inside the 30, down to about the 28. It's going to be short of the first down.
What did we say? A lot of times it looks like Cummings, when he goes back to pass, has run on his mind all the way. That looked like it was one of those situations right there, and I think the Cougars need to punt the ball away.
And it's a 4th down for the Cougars. A 4th and 10, the scoreboard shows us. Looks more like about a 4th and 12.
They're going for it, though, Rufus.
Well, from this field position, it's certainly not a bad decision. Let's see how it turns out for him. There's a pass over the middle to Jermaine Chapman. Goes up for it. Can't come down with it, though. Jermaine gave it a good effort. But
he had Chapman open. Chapman knows he was open. That was actually, I hate to say it, but that was another bad throw by the Hawthorne quarterback as he floated that one high and incomplete. Maybe a little too happy to have him wide open. Playoff jitters maybe for quarterback Cummings, but he had to play to get a game to get those away last week. So can't have those right here.
So with a minute left, Ayala takes over on their own 28-yard line. The big key here now is for the Cougars to stop him. And they don't do it starting out as they let their running back, the big back, Matt Johnson, rumble into Cougar territory down to about the Cougar 40-yard line.
That was a trap, Rufus. Take a look. The trap man is fair. He thinks he has him, but nope, he's trapped. And you got to make the tackle right here, Chapman. But he just goes right past Jermaine. And this is a good rumble by Matt Johnson, a smart runner. Cougars can't give up a score here. That would really hurt.
And I couldn't get it out of my mouth quick enough that I was saying, well, hey, if you're the Cougar defense, hey, let's go in. Let's make a couple of plays. If you can hold them here, they obviously aren't going to do anything foolish. But now you give them new life and thoughts of scoring with 51 seconds left, and they're at the Cougar 39-yard line. And a score would be damaging to the Cougars' efforts right now, Jason. This is where you talk about must-hold. This is a must-hold situation for the Cougar defense here with 40 seconds and clock counting left in the first half. Cougars trailing by a score of 10-0.
Cougars need to hope for something like an interception for a touchdown or one of those.
And now you see the Bulldogs running no huddle here. They keep it on the ground. You got a flag on the play. Cougar defense steps up. The clock will stop with 21 seconds left here in the first half.
The Cougars, it's going to be illegal motion, I believe, against Ayala. The Cougars will take this penalty to back them up just a little bit. But maybe the Cougars can get it. They're thinking interception for a touchdown, something like that, right along this point right here.
Well, they may be thinking that, but you don't want to get greedy. You want to get the basics and just hold them and get out of here with a 10-0 deficit. The last thing you want is for this deficit to increase any more this deep in the first half.
Cougars have a lot of offensive weapons, Rufus. It's really troubling to see them have so many problems moving the ball. They're using all 4 downs really to move it. With this Ayala team's running attack, just like we saw last year, they can run the football with a great offensive line.
And the penalty moves Ayala back to the Cougar 38-yard line. Got a 2nd down and 8, under 10 seconds left here in the first half now. They drop back to pass. Cougar defensive backs. Well, first of all, the defensive line gets here as we're watching that play. And the quarterback, Frost, throws off of his back foot, falls incomplete. And you've got 2 seconds left here in the first half.
It may be Big Ben time. As you see, the Cougars get some pressure, but it's not coming from up the middle. They're not getting enough penetration by Corey Thedford at a lot of times up the middle.
Good pressure there by number 44, Chris Perry, though, to force the pass by Frost. So we've got a timeout on the field taken by the Bulldogs of Ayala with 2 seconds left here in the first half. They lead by a score of 10-0.
After all that turkey on Thanksgiving, a Bulldog would be nice to eat right about now, Rufus. Maybe I'm losing my mind.
Well, the Cougars are certainly on the prowl here. And actually not too bad effort. A couple of big plays made by the Bulldogs that have given them this 10-0 lead.
Yeah, the Cougars have to be ready for the Big Ben play right here on 3rd down, but it's only 2 seconds left, so this should be the last play. So extra Cougars should be waiting deep back, actually near the goal line, 5-10-yard line, to catch this or deflect the ball. Right now they need to knock the ball down here on 3rd down and 8 with 2 seconds left.
Bulldog coaching staff headed by Mark Pasquarella, the head coach, out giving some 2-second instructions to his team. Well, we'll watch the 2-second play. Let's see what Ayala pulls out of their playbook. They drop back to pass. They're going to look all the way to the end zone. And this should be incomplete for a nearly caught. Good defensive coverage there by the Cougars, led by number 2, Keith Green, as they went over his way. And after 1 half, fans, we've got a 10-0 ball game. Unfortunately, the 10 is on the side of the Ayala Bulldogs. But the fortunate part of it is that we've got another half to go and plenty of time for the Cougars to pull this one out on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. We'll join you in just a few moments for a second half coverage. And we're back for a second half action, fans, as the Cougars trailing by a score of 10-0. Perhaps staring down the barrel at the end of the season, Jason. Can't put some points on the board right away. Cougar defense, actually, all things considered, played very good there in the first half to hold this high-scoring Ayala team to only 10 points. They've met the challenge as best they could, but now the offense has certainly got to help them out by putting some points on the board.
Yeah, the defense actually did what they were supposed to do. They bended, but they did not break. They only gave up 10 points to a team that averages 5 touchdowns a game. But the offense has been disappointing, to say the least. The Cougars have been very conservative on 3rd downs. We counted 3 times that they ran the ball on 3rd down and longs, none of them going for 1st downs. So the Cougars in the second half are going to have to put the ball up in the air, I think, on the early downs just a little bit more.
And there you saw a shot of the Cougar captains out there on the field. Of course, we know that's number 2, Keith Green, along with Jermaine Chapman, number 4, 52, Rory Smith, and of course 76, Tony T&T Terrell. Cougars, as you know, won the opening coin toss and deferred, electing to receive to open the second half, and this should represent some advantage for them to come out and get a good start here and get back into this game and get the Bulldogs of Ayala on their heels just a little bit. Cougars had a couple of threats there in the first half, Jason, that didn't materialize in the points, the biggest of which, of course, was a 55-yard kickoff return after the Ayala touchdown by Cioli Tuipiloto, which put them in position at the 30-yard line of the Bulldogs. However, the Cougar offense couldn't take advantage of that excellent field position, and that came late in the first half at the 4:11 mark. Plenty of time to mount a scoring drive, but unsuccessful for the Cougars on that occasion. So, as we start second half action here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60, Cougars got 24 minutes to get back into this. Dropping back to receive the kickoff for them will be Jermaine Chapman along with Cioli Tuipiloto. There you see Chapman on your screen. And it's going to be another short kick. Fumbled on the play. Let's see if the Cougars get it there. A lot of folks in there. Cougars seem to think they've got it. We've got indications going both ways. And this could be a monumental play to start the second half here. No official indication yet. Players from both sides indicating that they each have it. And as they unfold, looks like the Cougars come up with it. That's Tyrone Burrell.
Boy, did the Cougars come out with a break. They just went to the short kickoff. They know Tuipiloto just broke one on them earlier, and they went to Burrell. Take another look at the, the Cougars just tried to take it upfield, and Burrell saw the oncoming defenders, took his eye off the ball and dropped it and almost turned it over. But the Cougars have it 1st and 10.
1st and 10 at their own 34-yard line. Pretty good field position. The backfield has Cummins, Russell, and Etchema. And there's a handoff to Joe Etchema. Etchema looking for some running room. Breaks off his best run of the night as he gets into Ayala territory at the Ayala 48-yard line.
The Cougars ran the perfect play for the defensive lineman that Ayala was in right there. Nobody was over the tackles as you take a look at Etchema. They ran a perfect play. The power off to the left side. Take another look. There's no one over the tackle, so they were just going to block down, pull around, and kick out right there. Good block by Terrell, opens up the hole. Nice lead block by Brandy RUSSELL also.
18-yard run for Etchema. This time Etchema goes around the right side. Joe Etchema again picks up a first down and then some.
What a block. That play was made by the motion man. I believe it was Brandy RUSSELL, excuse me. He motioned outside, then cracked back on the defensive end. We're going to take another look as Etchema turns the corner. The block was made. It's not going to be in your picture, but Etchema does a good job to get upfield again.
Get you down to the 30-yard line, another 18-yard run. So that's back-to-back 18-yard runs for number 18, Joe Etchema. This time they keep it on the ground. Ayala wises up to the play. They stop him for no gain on the carry. But the Cougars come out looking good here in the third quarter.
Ayala has a lot of pride. They were the Division II runner-ups last year. So they're not going to go out easily. You're not just going to sweep it on them every play. But the Cougars, good offensive line play here to open up the second half.
So it's a 2nd and 11 for the Cougars now. They mark the ball at the 31-yard line. Cummins once again hands it off to Etchema. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, make it a 3rd and 10.
Well, heck, the Cougars going to have to put it up in the air right there. Some are going to question that call on 2nd and 11. They started to wise up to the Etchema left, Etchema right situation, and they tried to go up the middle with it, but Ayala is really tough up the middle. I think that number 4, Chapman, to come back into the game for the Cougars as he was out last play.
And the Cougars, depending upon their jumbo offensive line set that's in there now to give him some time to get things underway. And now you've got a double reverse coming back to Jermaine Chapman, giving ground, losing ground, and loses everything back to the 48-yard line.
Rufus, the Cougars now, that's the fourth time that they've run the ball on third down and long, and the reverse didn't work last week against Paramount. Doesn't work this time. Is well scouted. Good job by the Ayala coaching staff, and good job by the defenders to stay at home.
They mark it at the Ayala 45 officially, makes it a 4th and 25 for the Cougars. Caven Jackson, the punter for the Cougars. And he gets a punt away, shanks it to the right side, and it's going to go out of bounds just inside the 30. Looks like they're going to mark it at about the 27-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for Ayala here with 9:07 left in the third quarter. Again, another Cougar drive that got off to a good start. 2 18-yard runs by Joe Etchema. However, it stalls deep into Ayala territory, and Cougars end up having a punt. So once again, their defense is going to be challenged. You got movement along the defensive line. Looks like number 7 for the Cougars, Kenny Fanua, may have jumped offside there, Jason.
Well, Rufus, the Cougars had just had a drive killer. They started off well, and then they just started to the Ayala defense started to play better, and that was a big-time defensive stand for the Bulldogs. Now offside's going to be called against the Cougars, and that is not what this coaching staff wanted, was to give these guys a 1st down and 5, where they have a playbook that they can reach to just about any play in it right now.
And the Cougar faithful still looking for something to cheer about here. Trailing by a score, 10-0 here in the third quarter. Cougars show blitz. They come up to the line. They keep it on the ground, and the Cougars get there to make the stop after a short gain.
Boy, the Cougars are showing blitz, but that offensive line did a great job to pick it up and actually drive the Cougar defensive lineman back in the secondary. Take another look. Look at Muwala stood up by the blitz, and they drive a couple of Cougars to their backs, actually.
So it's a 2nd down and 3 for Ayala now at the 35-yard line of the Cougars. They send the man in motion to this side. Their quarterback, Frost, steps up with it, keeps it on his own. Ball comes loose, but he's able to recover. Looks like he may have enough for the 1st down.
There's a quarterback counter trap. Chris Perry did a nice job to make the tackle. It'll be close for the 1st down. When you motion the last running back out of the backfield, it usually takes away any threat of the run, but you'll see a lot of quarterback sneaks right here. Instead of sneaking it, he takes a step back, allows his blockers to get in front, breaks a tackle, and does a good job to come for the 1st down for Ayala. Good job by the quarterback of reading his blocks.
And there you have Perry almost with the strip on the play. Nonetheless, it's a 1st and 10 for Ayala. 8 minutes left here in the third. Once again, they keep it on the ground. Cougars doing a lot of reaching for the ball.
Their best receiving threat being Ayala. Their best receiving threat is out of this ball game, Mike Snyder. And the man who took his place for the Bulldogs is Antoine Cameron, number 20. So you're not going to see Ayala put the ball up in the air that much, because Cameron, as we've seen him, is not that good of a receiver. And this Mike Snyder is all CIF material. But he's hurt, so Ayala's been running the ball kind of successfully against the Cougars.
There you see the Cougar defensive line. Corey Thetford, 64, William Vea. They've got a big challenge in front of them here. Number 9 for the Cougars gets in, J.R. Moala, and makes the play for him. He's going to make it a 3rd and long. Big 3rd down play coming up again for the Cougars. The sort of play that you got to make.
There you see J.R. Moala. He does a good job coming to the outside, beating the block of the tackle. That was a good job by J.R. Here on a 3rd down and 6, the Cougars might want to look at that tight end or that flat pass that they've been throwing all night long.
So the 3rd down play for the Cougars, the play that they need to make. Quick drop by the quarterback. Frost goes over the middle. Is up in there, nearly picked off by number 5, Courtney Ketter there. brings up a 4th down, so the Cougar defense makes an important stop here in the 3rd quarter to give their offense yet another chance.
Another victory by the Cougar defense. They make a good play. Take another look. They almost get to the quarterback, Frost. He tries to throw that slant. Nice play by Ketter to break it up, and then deep breaths were taken in the stands. That ball hung up there for a while.
So back to receive for the Cougars, Jermaine Chapman, along with Cioli Tuipiloto.
This is their best offensive threat, by the way, Rufus, the punt return.
Cougars show a little pressure on it.
Oh, it hit Ketter.
Looks like it touched the Cougar. And what's the indication going to be? Okay, Cougars take over. For a moment there, thought the Bulldogs had recovered over on the far sideline. But the Cougars get it at their own 33-yard line, where with 6:32 left in the 3rd quarter, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Cougars, looking to make up a 10-point deficit here at Halcap Field.
They've got to start putting some more drives together. They came up empty on that last one. They've got to go to their big guns, and their big guns have got to come through for them.
Cummins still the quarterback. Here's a pitch to Etchema. Etchema trying to get outside, has a man to beat, picks up a couple of yards on the play. Good run by Joe Etchema.
From here, when you look at Etchema run, it looks like he's just getting 2 or 3 yards, but he does such a good job of getting the extra yardage upfield. He gets 7 or 8 instead of just getting 2 or 3 right there.
So it's a 2nd down and 3 for the Cougars. 7-yard gain on the play for Etchema. Backfield once again has Russell and Etchema along with Cummins, the quarterback. They hand it off to Etchema again. Joe looking to turn up. This time it's going to be stopped for a short gain after it crosses the 40. They'll make it about a 3rd and 2 now.
So the Cougars have ran the ball on 4 third downs. We got to see what they'll do right here, Rufus, if they'll stick to the run or put a safe pass up into the air.
Well, it'll be a 3rd down and 2, ball spotted just across the 40. Cougars need to get to the 43 to pick up the 1st down. And once again, they come with the big offensive line. They fake the handoff to Etchema, has some time, and is short hopped to Brandy Russell by Cummins. Had enough for the first, but just threw it at his shoestrings, and Brandy Russell couldn't make the play, so the Cougars have to punt it away. 3 and out.
This may be the worst game we've seen Cummings play this season. This is a bad time to come in the playoffs. Is good blocking by the offensive line. You get the fake you wanted. Everything's open. You just got to connect on it. Bad pass. Oh.
Brandy Russell had no chance on the play. This time they fake it, and they pick up the 1st down. As a pass out in the flat to number 33, Heavy Sakoma.
I think we had to know that the Cougars were going to a fake right there. I'd have said it if I'd have had another second before the play started, but you take another look. It wasn't a short snap because they faked last time off of a short snap. Jackson just fired a nice pass out into the flat. And a nice job by the receiver to hold on to it.
So Coach Robbins reaches into the bag of tricks, and on a critical 4th down play, they pick up the 1st down. Backs are split this time. They give it to Brandy Russell, and Russell picks up about 4 on the play. Looks like they're going to give him 3 officially. So we'll call it a 2nd down and 7 for the Cougars.
It's that Cougars offensive line. They've got to get the job done for this team right now. They've got to open up the holes. They've done a good job considering that they're playing against a top team, and the Cougars have got to keep it up along the offensive front. But the skill position guys have got to start coming through for them.
Out of the I formation. They hand it off to Brandy Russell, the first back through up the middle, and Russell rumbles down to the 36-yard line for another Cougar 1st down.
On the trap last year, Brandy Russell against Ayala in the playoffs ran a 50-yard touchdown run, if you remember. This was just almost an identical play to that. He's going to Cummings does a good job of getting it in and then carrying out his fake because they've gone to Etchema on the pitch. Good job of that line leading upfield, and good job by Russell running it.
Good blocking there by number 52, Rory Smith for the Cougars. This time they pass out in the flat, and it's a little too hot to handle for Prince Hampton. First time we've called his name tonight, Jason.
Prince can't let those things happen to him right there. The Cougars are dropping too many passes, and there's too many easy plays that they are not converting on in this ball game. You're playing against the Division II runner-up and one of the top teams in the division, the number 2 ranked team. Take another look. Nice pass by Cummings. Just can't have that.
And it's a 2nd down and 10 for the Cougars now. The back shift. Cummins drops back to pass. Cummins lets go as he's hit and overthrows his intended receiver, Kaven Jackson.
But the good thing about that play is that Cummings threw the ball. He didn't try and hold on to it for too long, stood in the face of pressure and tried to deliver it to Jackson, but he just delivered it a little bit off to the left side. Good coverage, though, by Ayala.
And you get the feeling that Coach Robbins got in his ear on halftime for, again, holding on the ball too long. And, of course, we saw him take a big 20-yard sack late in the first quarter there that took him out of a scoring drive. So it's a 3rd down and 10 now for the Cougars. Out of the eye. They fake the handoff to Etchema. Drops back, short pass to number 31. Number 31 picks up the 1st down for the Cougars. Great reception there by Keith Aquina. So they're starting to spread the ball around to a couple of different receivers, Jason.
Yeah, and I think in the zone that Ayala runs, your tight ends are going to be open more than your receivers will be open. And Aquino, off of the delay, as he delayed 1001, 1002, came out into the flat and was wide open as the zone started to open up. Good job by Cummings on delivering it, and a nice run after the catch.
So, ball now spotted at the 20-yard line of Ayala. Cougars' deepest penetration of the night. 1st and 10 for them. Etchema looking to get around the corner. Joe Etchema has some running room. Turns it up. Picks up a 1st down. Gets down inside the 10, inside the 5.
It's coming back, Rufus. Going to be holding or clipping against the Cougars. That comes at a very bad time. That man Etchema has done a terrific job running the football here in the 2nd half. Take another look. They motioned Russell out of the backfield. We saw Russell lay a nice block earlier. He does this time also. Look at that. Pins the man inside, lays the block, and the flag's going to come flying right about now from the umpire. They call the holding. We're going to look at it from another angle, see if we can check out the holding that was called against the Cougars. We're going to take another look. Look up in the middle of the offensive line because that's where it was thrown. See, and really can't see, but we're being told to look at Rory Smith for the hold. But only the players will know, and Coach Robbins just can't believe it. He's yelling at the official right now.
Tough break for the Cougars on an excellent run by Joe Etchema that took it down inside the 5-yard line. And we've got an injured Bulldog down on the field. Looks like that's number 42 for the Bulldogs. And, of course, we know that is Tom Coburn, senior linebacker for them.
So the Cougars on their last drive had a great drive up until the last couple plays of the drive. They're having a great drive again, and then they get stung once again, though, on the penalty.
So the penalty makes it a 1st and 20 for the Cougars now. Ball is spotted at the 30-yard line. A little quick arithmetic tells you they need to get down to the 10 to pick up the 1st. So far, the Cougars being very impressive here in the 3rd quarter. Again, the deficit's only 10 points. Very much a winnable ball game for the Cougars, but you got to put something on the board on this drive. They've had the ball a long time. You don't want to come away empty here. They keep it on the ground with the handoff to Brandy Russell. Nothing doing as he stopped at the line of scrimmage. Make it a 2nd down and 20 for the Cougars now.
I think the Cougars maybe should put the ball up in the air. They've had a little bit more success here in the second half. Take another look as Ayala will have nothing of the kind that going up the middle. Bad block by the captain, Rory Smith, right there. And that causes that play to be all screwed up. So the Cougars, 2nd and 20 now. Hopefully they don't self-destruct on this drive like they did the last one.
Tui Piloto in the backfield this time. Once again, they fake the handoff. Quick release there. Good reception by Jermaine Chapman. Heads around the right side, still has some running room. Still on his feet, picks up the first down.
Jermaine Chapman should give his paycheck to Keith Aquina because he laid a great block on the sideline to spring Chapman as 1st and goal for the Cougars, Rufus. We're going to take another look at the replay. Let's take a look at JC, Jermaine Chapman. Good play by Chapman. We saw him mess up earlier. This is his 2nd big play. Nice play action job again by Cummings on the 22-yard pass completion. He gives it to Chapman there. Now take a look. Coming up with a block coming from the left side of your screen will be Aquina to lay a key block right there to spring Chapman for a 1st down.
Great play there by Aquina. Cougars keep it on the ground. Brandy Russell with the carry. Gets it down around the 2-yard line. And of course, NCAA officials know you're joking about the paycheck there.
All right, 3-yard line for the Cougars now. 1st down and goal, or 2nd down and goal, Rufus. The offensive line has really done a good job here in the second half. Take another look at that block. There's a decleater. And a good job by the Cougars. Teamwork is what gets it done.
So the Cougars are knocking on the door here with 2:50 left in the 3rd quarter. Great scoring opportunity for them to give it to Brandy Russell. Nothing doing. Nothing doing. The defensive line led by big number 85 for Ayala. Chris Jakesha makes the play for them.
Well, Rufus, they're excited here on the home side, but the offensive line can't get excited. They got to do what they came to do, and that's block. Didn't block on that play. Didn't block on the play before really well. The Cougars may stick it in the breadbasket and pull it out and go for some play action right here.
3rd down and goal for the Cougars from the 4-yard line. Cummins under center. Whoa, fumble on the play. Fumble on it. It's going to be picked up by Ayala. Tui Piloto fumbles on the hit. And the drive, which was moving so beautifully for the Cougars, comes up empty with a big turnover deep in Ayala territory, and they let the Bulldogs off the hook, Jason.
Because a field goal would have even been good there. To get nothing out of it, the Cougars, that may be the backbreaker right here in the 3rd quarter. They got to get their head into it and stay in this ball game.
Well, it certainly hurts the spirit of the Cougar effort right now. Let's see if they can quickly regroup. Ayala keeps it on the ground, getting in there to make the stop for the Cougars. Number 9, J.R. Moala.
This happens when you run the ball. Mistakes are going to happen. This is the game of football. Take another look at the crossbuck as they fake it to Moala, give it to Tui Piloto, and a helmet right on the football put in there. And then there's the mad scramble for the rock. What a great job by Ayala to recover.
So a blown opportunity for the Cougars here. 2nd down for Ayala. Once again, they keep it on the ground with quick little inside handoff on a reverse. Stop for no gain by the Cougar defense. So the Cougar defense once again being challenged and for the most part have ably met the challenge tonight, but you wonder how many more times can this defense take these kind of hits.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of hits. Then we're going to get clipping. That's a 15-yard penalty coming up against the Bulldogs. So the Cougars still in this ball game here in the 3rd quarter. They need 2 scores. What the Cougars have figured out, though, is they can move the ball in this Ayala team. They just got to put it in the end zone.
And there you see the official signal clipping against Ayala being declined by the Cougars. They'll take the 3rd down.
I don't know about that, Rufus. I think me and myself would rather them go 2nd down and about 23 than 3rd and 8 because Ayala has a good passing game and they've been converting on 3rd downs.
Well, the Cougars gamble a little bit. Let's see if the gamble plays off. 3rd down and 8 for Ayala. With 57 seconds left here in the third, their quarterback Frost drops back to pass. Attempting to set up the screen pass. His intended receiver drops the ball, though. So the gamble pays off for the Cougars. And it'll force Ayala to punt here with 52 seconds left in the third.
See why I'm in the booth and not on the sidelines, Rufus? Good, good call by the Cougars. Coaching staff right there. As the penalty against Ayala is about to be declined again. It's going to send it to 4th down. But a nice play that time by Viafia now. He sent Matt Johnson head over heels. Not in a good way, though. He wasn't in love. He was head over heels, head in the turf. And then now it's punting situation. Wouldn't we like to see a return for a touchdown here as you got the bus and Jermaine Chapman back to receive it.
Here's a snap, low snap, but they get it away. Heads over to Tui Piloto's side, and it sails out of bounds at about the 47, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Cougars. Great field position here with 52 seconds left in the third quarter. Cougars still trailing by a score of 10-0 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
The Cougar offense has a hop in their step, a spring in their step. They know they have a chance to win this ball game. They know they can move the ball now in Ayala, as they have 2 times in this half, or in this quarter already. The Cougars can move the ball. Will they is the question, Rufus.
Now we've got an official stoppage of play. And we'll be back in a moment on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 with the Cougars trailing by a score of 10-0. And we're back to live action as they roll 10 seconds off the clock, get it down to 42 seconds here in the third quarter. Cougars in the eye, they send Brandy Russell in motion. He brings the block out this way, trying to spring Joe Etchema. Not much luck doing there, but Joe takes nothing and makes something out of it as he picks up 2 yards on the play, Jason.
Boy, nice play, though, by the defender for Ayala getting outside, but Joe Etchema makes nothing, like you said, into something, Rufus. Got another good block by Russell at the end, but their defense for Ayala is very good, and they don't let you get outside very often.
Joe gets it across the midfield stripe into Ayala territory. Cougars at one point were down at the Ayala 4-yard line here in the third quarter. Lost it on a fumble to kill that drive. Cummins drops back to pass. Cummins lets it go. And it's incomplete. Pass intended for Jermaine Chapman, thrown about a half a yard short. Tough play for Chapman to make with the ball being thrown at his feet.
Chapman was open in the zone as the Cougars flooded the zone. Aquina was the man underneath. They just flooded the zone right there. That's the quarter, Rufus' fourth quarter time.
And after 3 quarters here at Halcap Field in the CIF second round Division II playoffs,
Arco AM/PM.
The Bulldogs of Ayala, who've made the trip down here to Hawthorne, lead our own Cougars by a score of 10-0. Cougars have 12 minutes left to overcome this 10-point deficit, or they can put the 1997 season to sleep.
Yeah, they can put it to sleep, Rufus, but they have the offense to put Ayala to sleep. But Ayala, give them some credit. They have pitched a shutout, at least throughout these 3 quarters.
And as you've noted, this high-scoring Ayala offense coming in averaging 34.5 points a game. The Cougar defense has done a very good job of thus far limiting them to 10 points and giving their offense every opportunity in the world to make this a ball game. So we open fourth quarter action with a 3rd and 8 for the Cougars. Ball just inside Ayala territory. Cummins drops back to pass, hits his receiver, Caven Jackson. First down inside the 30-yard line. Let's call it the 28.
What a nice pass. There's a confidence builder for Cummings as he stood back. As you look at Jackson, but the play was made by Andre Cummings, living up to his nickname, the Arm, as he stood in the pocket and rifled one down the middle, and that gets that drive started. Rufus, big third down. The Cougars throwing now on third down. Take another look quickly at the replay, Rufus, as he just gunned it. There's a good play.
So we're back to live action on the 1st and 10 play. They give it to Joe Etchema, and Joe rumbles for another first down as he gets down inside the 15-yard line.
Joe Etchema, Marcus Allen Jr., haven't called him that in a while. He runs a lot like his cousin, Joki Asamoah of Narbonne. Take another look at the pitch as once again the Cougar lead blockers are getting out there. Look at that block by Russell. Cutting back in is Etchema getting extra yardage, just like Etchema has shown us he can do all year long.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Cougars, just inside the Ayala 15-yard line. They keep it on the ground again with Etchema. This time he's going to be stopped after a short gain.
Clock really not a factor with 11 minutes to play in the fourth quarter, but the Cougars need to get something on this drive right here. This is starting to feel like it's going to come down to the end again, Rufus. I can't take this. My heart can't take this.
And the Cougars have come up empty a couple of times, but I think you're right, Jason. This is a situation where you can't afford to come up empty here. You've got to put some points on the board regardless. Obviously, you'd like to get the 7 first, but if the situation presents itself and you only can get the 3, then you got to take it. Once again, on the ground.
The Cougars are in a muddy part of the field where guys are slipping and sliding all over the field. Take another look. Look at Tui Pelotu, tries to make his cut, but he slips, and his cut is made too late, and that allows him to be tackled by an Ayala defender.
And of course, the heavy rains of the last couple of days have affected the condition of the field just a little. 3rd down and 5 for the Cougars. They keep it on the ground. That's incomplete. They ran a beautiful fake. I thought Joe Etchema had it. Actually, they threw it out in the left flat to Pat Hamala, number 31.
Cougars putting in their
Or Keith Aquina, I'm sorry.
Cougars putting in their PAT team, but take another look at the pitch, or pardon me, at the fake handoff, and the throwback, not even close. They're in their formation where they like to go out for 2. They're swinging gate formation, Rufus, but looks like they might kick this. This is big.
Well, you see Hector Urbano setting up for the field goal attempt. The kick is up, and it's good. So with 9:41 left in the contest, the Cougars get on the board at the 9:41 mark, and they now trail by a score of 10-3.
The Cougars have now put themselves into position to win this football game. We won't even talk about if they'll go for 2 if they score again yet. They first have to stop Ayala. They have 9:41 left to do it, Rufus. Now or never. This is what playoff football is all about. Those people know it. This may not be the frozen tundra of Lambeau, but playoff football is playoff football wherever you go.
And that field goal is enough to get the Hawthorne crowd back into the game.
That was a big kick by Hector Urbano, Rufus. We haven't seen him kick much this year as the Cougars go for 2 so much.
Well, they got the points when they needed them. As we had said earlier, that was a drive where you had to come away with something. And here's Urbano's kickoff. It's going to be taken by one of the upbacks. Brings it out across the 25. Gets it out to the 33, where it'll be 1st and 10 for Ayala.
Now the pressure is on the Bulldogs to get some sort of a drive so they don't have to give it back to the Cougars, but the Cougar defense has played well.
We got 9:34 left in the contest, fans. Our score 10-3 in favor of the Bulldogs of Ayala, but a little momentum has started to creep up on the side of the Cougars. And let's see if that momentum transfers now over to the defensive side of the Cougars. They need to make a couple of plays here to give their team a shot. And they put the big hit on the workhorse back for Ayala. Of course, that's Matt Johnson, and we've called his name quite a few times tonight.
Boy, is he, you talk about a workhorse. Look, his jersey's all battered and beaten up, Rufus. As he'd make the all-Madden team, I'm being told. Hey, are we going to do all the Miller team, by the way?
So it's a second down now for Ayala, 2nd and 4. Scott Frost, their quarterback. They're looking to keep it on the ground, and they do. You got a flag on the play.
The Cougars are hoping for illegal motion, 2 men moving at the same time. They can really use that right now. Cougars defense is really starting to stiffen. That bend but don't break style for them has been working. Yes, illegal motion, 2 men moving. When you have so much motion, you're in danger of that.
And this is a penalty that the Cougars will accept. So they'll repeat 2nd down, mark off the 5, and make it a 2nd and 8 now for Ayala.
These seniors for the Cougars, they want it. They do not want this to be their last game of the season, Rufus. They want to go out on a winning note.
So it's a 2nd down and 9, actually, for Ayala. Their quarterback, Frost, drops back to pass, goes over the middle. Great play there, and you've got another flag on the play.
That's going to be a clip. You cannot block below the waist 6 yards in outside of a 6-yard perimeter between the tackles and going forward. So basically outside of the tackle. That's going to go against Hawthorne, and they're going to take him back. Oh, they're going to pick the flag up. Hey, how are you going to pick the flag up? Either you saw it or you didn't. You know, take another look. It's going to be at the top left corner of the screen. Take a look at the cut block. You can't do that, Rufus. I don't know why they're picking up the flag.
So it makes it a 3rd down and 9 now. I was at the 34. They need to get down to the 44 to pick up the 1st down. Big play again for the Hawthorne defense. Frost drops back to pass. There's some pursuit. Do they get to him? And they get him. Fumble on the play. Cougars pick it up. Let's see how they rule it. This should be ruled a fumble, and it is. Cougars get the ball. So the Cougar defense answers the bell, and they force the big turnover. There you see Chris Perry, number 44.
Chris Perry, you the man. He makes a huge play, the biggest play maybe that he will ever make in high school football. Take another look at the replay. This crowd's going nuts. I can't hear myself think, Rufus, but it was a great play as Muala came on the delayed blitz, kind of threw the quarterback Johnson Frost out of his rhythm, and the Cougars are driving to tie.
So Cougars 1st down play. Cummins puts it up in the air. Hits his receiver. He's going to be right at the goal line. They don't give him the touchdown. That's Caven Jackson on the reception, and Caven skied for that one. A high pass, but he went up and pulled it down right at what would appear to be the goal line.
Fade passes, that's what that's called. We're going to take another look. Intended for Jackson. Jackson makes a nice play. He has great hands. Take another look. Beautiful high arching pass by Cummings. An even better catch by Jackson. The Cougars looking to score.
Okay, we're back to live action. Cougars keep it on the ground. No indication yet from the official. Quarterback keeper.
He fell over the line, Rufus. There's the line. It's at his waist. That's got to be called a touchdown.
Still waiting for the official indication. There you see the referee there in the midst of it. And there's the indication. That's a touchdown for the Cougars. So on the quarterback keeper, Andre Cummins from 1 foot out. Scores a touchdown, with 8:10 left in the contest. And now the Cougars trail by 1 with an opportunity to tie or go ahead.
Plenty of time. The Cougars need to go for 1, Rufus. They need to go for 1. There's plenty of time left to take the lead in this ball game. My goodness, Rufus.
So
But they gotta excuse me, Rufus, but they gotta make this extra point. This is huge. Urbano is becoming Mr. Pressure Man here as he made the big field goal. He can tie it for the Cougars.
Well, they're showing that they're going for the extra point. Of course, with these Cougars, you can never predict anything. And there it is. The extra point is good by Hector Urbano.
Hey, but the big play, let's not forget Chris Perry. He is the man for the Cougars as he made a big play to cause the fumble and to get the Cougar crowd in it. It's not a huge Cougar crowd, but they are making a lot of noise, and they've silenced the Ayala crowd of about 2,000 or 3,000. Coach Robbins, there's the Coach Robbins watch. He gets those arms waving. You know he's into it.
And the Cougars are now back into it as we've got a whole new ball game, fans, with 8:10 left. We're tied at 10.
Hawthorne football is back, Rufus. This was what it was like in the early 90s when Corey McCoy and all those guys used to bust for touchdowns. Take another look at the touchdown. He just sees there's no one over the middle, slips. It would have been easier if he did not slip, but he slipped. It took a while for them to call it, but they get the touchdown.
And right now, the Ayala side of the field, quiet as a church mouse, as the Cougars have pulled even here in the fourth quarter, courtesy of 2 scores.
I don't want to work Friday night. How about you, Rufus?
Hey, as long as the Cougars are in, of course, you know Channel 60 will be there. Here's the kickoff. Excellent return by Ayala, brings it out to the 31-yard line where they'll go on offense again. And momentum, of course, as we can see, and we see it started to shift a little bit after the Urbano field goal that made it 10-3, and now it's taking a huge shift over to the Cougar side of the field.
Well, what the Cougars have right now, though, is confidence. They believe they can stop Ayala. They can believe they can move the ball on Ayala, but they got to keep it up for 8 minutes and 4 seconds.
So it's a 1st and 10 for Ayala now. They come back, keeping it on the ground. On the handoff to Antoine Cameron.
The Cougars are so pumped up right now, Rufus, that defense can care less right now who's trying to block them. They're knocking those guys out of the way. But they still got to play their game. Can't get too excited. Don't lose your heads.
There you go. Very good point. Exactly what I was about to say. I know that there's a lot of enthusiasm and excitement on the Cougar side of the ball now, but you don't want to make a mental mistake. Give this Ayala team something they can take advantage of. 2nd down and 7 for Ayala. Their quarterback, Frost, drops back to pass. There you see his pass complete as he gets out across the 45-yard line.
What a super quarterback to make a nice play to the big tight end, Rufus. Jerry Miranda on the tight end out. Nice quarterbacking skills shown by Frost as Frost stands in the pocket. Look, he has pressure. It's going to be coming all in his face. He stands in the face of pressure, throwing a nice pass. And Ayala, they haven't lost their heads. The Cougars are not leading. They are tied in this ball game, Rufus.
1st and 10 for Ayala at their own 46-yard line. Once again, they keep it on the ground. Short gain on the play.
Penalty flags, Rufus. I believe I saw a penalty flag. No. That was a beanbag. There it is.
That was Matt Johnson with the carry. So right now, Ayala mixing it up on offense. A carry here, a pass there. Keeping the Cougars defensively unbalanced. So it's a 2nd down and 9. The crowd calling for defense, and you got flags all over the field. Well, you had a couple of things that this could have been, including against the Cougars for jumping, but the Cougars seem to think it's going to go against
They say it's
Ayala.
against Ayala, Rufus. It's against Ayala, and that's what the Cougars needed on a 2nd down and 9. That drives it to 2nd and 14. That's a big difference. Watch out for the blitz here if you're Ayala. The Cougars have blitzed a lot here this game, and they're blitzing a lot in long yardage situations. This definitely is one, 2nd and 14.
6.5 minutes left in the contest, fan. The Cougar faithful have woken up, and Ayala keeps it on the ground. Great call. It's a race now, and he gets in. Number 22.
What a run. That is an unbelievable run. Matt Johnson, another unbelievable run, would not let the speed burners catch him. He turned on the juice, Rufus.
A 53-yard touchdown run by Matt Johnson. As we watch it again on the replay, great call by Ayala to catch the Cougars again off stride, expecting the pass. We were thinking the pass situation. They keep it on the ground. A lot of pursuit being given there by Chris Perry and Tui Piloto, but Johnson with too much speed to be caught from behind.
We said that the Cougars couldn't lose their heads. Gave up a big play right there. That one made no good.
And the kick is good. So Ayala very quickly responds and extends their lead once again to 17-10. Just as the Cougars had gotten back into this game, boy, you talk about a momentum breaker. A 53-yard touchdown run by Matt Johnson puts the Bulldogs back on top on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 by a score of 17-10 with 6:15 left in the contest.
Ayala fans are loving it. I saw a couple of them mocking the Cougar fans as the Cougars like to do that raise the roof thingy. And these Hawthorne players that can't lose their composure, they've got to come back, get a nice drive and score. Plenty of time left, 6:15 left.
Well, you got Tui Piloto back to receive along with Jermaine Chapman. Last couple of times they kicked it short. This time they kick it away. Looks like Chapman will have a chance to handle. He catches it at his own 10. He cuts up the middle with some running room, and he brings it out to the 33-yard line. So he gives the Cougar offense good field position, and they've got 6:09 left, Jason, to get back in this contest. And that will give us an opportunity, I believe, to take a break right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. And we're back to live action, fans. We only missed one play. A handoff to Joe Etcheman, picked up 7 yards. Makes it a 2nd down and 3 for the Cougars. There's a pass out in the flat intended for Courtney Ketter. And looks like Ketter could have made that play a bit low.
Well, Ketter hasn't seen the ball thrown his way all game long, so maybe a little bit rusty out there. But the Cougars, another 3rd down, need to convert.
And with 5:34 left in the contest, you're obviously in 4-down situation, Jason, as once again the Cougars looking the end of the season squarely in the eye. They looked it in the eye in the 4th quarter, didn't blink. They put 10 points up on the board to get back even. This time they give it to Etcheman. Etcheman slips, can't get anything out of it, so it's going to bring up a 4th down. And once again, Coach Robbins and his Cougars are going to have to go into their bag of tricks for a 4th down play, Jason, to pick up the 1st down.
There's this punt team going onto the field, but you know,
I don't believe that for a minute, and I don't think you do either.
Hey, anything can happen. But the Cougars like to do a lot of fakes out of this.
Well, this could, and we've got a timeout being taken by Ayala. I think Ayala, obviously having scouted this Cougar team, knows to anticipate something. They don't know what, And they said, hold, guys, let's take a time out here and get ourselves together on defense for whatever these guys may come up with.
Man, that drop pass by Ketter was huge. As he just dropped it off of the flat pass right through his hands. Would have got the Cougars a first down. However, they're staring 4th and 2. Like you say, Rufus, directly in the eye. Oh, this would be terrible if the Cougars were to lose this football game after coming from 10 points behind on the CIF Division II Arco AM/PM runner-ups last season, Ayala Bulldogs. Give Ayala their credit. They came back. They gave up 10 unanswered to the Cougars, who tied the game. They could have easily folded, with the veterans that they are. Mr. Matt Johnson took it 50-some-odd yards all the way for a touchdown.
53-yard run. And again, one of the intangibles, though, if you're Ayala, is that, hey, here's a chance where you could have folded it in, but when you've got a couple thousand people over on your side of the field and you're on the road, but you can look over there for inspiration, it makes a difference. Caven Jackson back to punt. And Cougars in quite a surprise, punt it away. They're going to let it roll. It's going to take a good Cougar bounce as it goes down inside the 30, inside the 25 to about the 23. Or maybe even better than that. That's at the 13, rather, fans. So from their own 13-yard line with exactly 5 minutes left in the contest, Ayala goes on offense, but the Cougar defense looking to make something happen here.
5 minutes left in this game, Rufus, and it was the class of '93 Cougar team who won it exactly 5 years ago.
Well, the Cougar team of '97 right now have a challenge in front of them, and that challenge is to get the ball back for their offense. They keep it on the ground. No surprise there. If you're Ayala, though, you got to play it a little more loosely than that, because if you're only going to run it, I think the Cougars are wise enough to that, and you'll go 3 and out real quick.
Well, heck, they just scored a 53-yard touchdown pass off of that, so that's as good as a bomb, Rufus. The Cougars, the clock is running. They've got to start making stops and making them now, because first downs mean the end of their season.
So it's a 2nd down and 8 for Ayala. Clock at 4:30 and counting. Frost under center once again. They keep it on the ground as they go up the middle on a dive. Nothing happening there. Maybe a gain of a yard on the play is going to make it a 3rd and long.
Cougars are calling timeout. I don't believe they even need to use their timeout. There's 4:22 left. That's a lot of time. I don't believe that they needed to take a timeout right there. You should have saved your timeouts if you're the Cougars, I think. But however, they call a timeout. They have 2 remaining. That may come back to haunt them, because Rufus, with it being 4:22 left in the football game, that's a lot of time, especially on a 3rd down.
Well, I think what the coaching staff is thinking is that the Cougars have shown some propensity for giving up the 3rd down play tonight. And right now, this is a play of the game. You know, you may as well be clear about what you're going to do right here. And, boy, if we're going to lose, we're going to go down doing what we do best. So the coaching staff wants to get the defense in sync. Everybody know exactly what their job is and what their mission is. They know what the mission is. With it being a 3rd down and 7, the mission is to prevent the 1st down. The question is, how do we accomplish that? The defensive coaching staff out there giving them instructions on just that.
Wonder if the Cougars are coming with that blitz up the middle. Cougar fans are saying, God, please let them hold Ayala right here.
Well, let's see what the 3rd down defensive play is for the Cougars. Ayala comes out in an I formation. With a receiver in the slot, you got flags all over the field. You got a pass that's complete.
But the penalty's going to go against Ayala since the whistles didn't blow to stop the play. So that's going to back him up, and the 1st down's going to be nullified.
Look for the official indication from the referee, and there it is again. Illegal motion against Ayala. Cougars will accept that. I'll make it should make it a 3rd down and about 12 for the Bulldogs now.
The Cougars can hold them here. They'll be in good position. They'll have good field position but the question is, can they hold him here? Matt Johnson has gotten the job done. The Cougars should bring those linebackers on a blitz right now and get some pressure on the quarterback. Last time they were in this situation, they ran it right up the middle and scored a touchdown, though.
So a lot of time being taken here to get things set.
They broke the chains on the far side of the field, Rufus. That's what the delay is for, is the running back ran right into the chain, Rufus.
Speaking of which gives me an opportunity, excellent segue there, Jason.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
Excuse me, fans, to mention that the chain crew that's worked every game for the Hawthorne Cougars this season here at Hal Cap Field includes Ron Craig, Jerry McWilliams, Sally Ann McWilliams, and along with Tom, another one of the people on the chain crew, one of the faculty members named Tom.
You've done your homework tonight, Rufus.
Well, that was passed along to me by the great statistician here at Hawthorne, Dale, a good friend of Channel 60 Sports. A great host every time we're here at Hal Cap Field. Helps to make our job a lot easier.
Ayala's about to call a timeout. We'll never get this third down underway.
And you hear some in the crowd, and it sounds like even from the coaching sideline saying, "Come on, guys, let's go. Let's get it underway." Not entirely sure what the officiating crew is doing here. What's a third down play?
Ayala's coaches are coming on the field, so it's a timeout, Rufus.
Now you've got Ayala taking a timeout. So the Cougar defensive coach heads back out onto the field. Quite a bit of confusion on this last play just to get underway. It started with a simple illegal motion penalty, and that was about 3 minutes ago. And we have yet to get the third down play underway. So with 4:18 left in the fourth quarter here at Hal Cap Field, Ayala leads by a score of 17-10, but the Cougars have them pinned deep in their own territory with a 3rd and long coming up, and an opportunity here if they can make the stop to get the ball back in excellent field position, and yet another chance to perhaps tie this game up or go ahead on a 2-point conversion. So we're finally going to get this third down play underway. Cougars showing blitz. They don't come, though. Ayala keeps it on the ground. Nothing happening there. So it's going to be a 4th and long, and the Cougars should get the ball in Ayala territory.
Good job by the Cougars. They went to that blitz again, and J.R. Mwala did a great job to make a good play. And with the clock rolling, it's nervous time. Mr. Jerry West in the stands again for the Cougars.
So the return man for the Cougars, Tui Piloto, along with Jermaine Chapman, set up right at midfield. And again, if you're the Cougars, you don't want to turn over here. You don't want to fumble. The kick is away. Sailing toward Tui Piloto. Signals for the fair catch. Makes it right on the midfield stripe is where they'll spot the ball. So with 3:27 left in the contest, the Cougars are 50 yards away from tying this game up, or at least get in a position to tie with a touchdown. Plenty of time left for the Cougars here. No need to panic, no need to rush. You've got 2 timeouts in your pocket. You've only got 50 yards to go for the score. Every play here is going to be huge. Cummins, the quarterback. They fake the pitch back to Etchema. They give it off on the inside to Brandy Russell. Russell picks up a 1st down as he gets across the 40-yard line, inside the 40, down to about the 39-yard line. Brandy Russell, the senior, coming up big for the Cougars. Can't see it from this angle, but on the play, Brandy Russell is the up back. They fake the pitch to Etchema, give the inside handoff to Russell, and Russell carries it for 10 yards on the play. 1st and 10, Cougars at the 39-yard line now. This time out of the I formation, Cummins drops back to pass, hits Jermaine Chapman at about the 45, the 35, I should say. Give him a gain of about 5 on the play. Make it a 2nd down and 5. Got 2:54 left. You see on the replay here, Chapman catching the ball out in the flat. There you see the muddy conditions on the field. Real tough to keep your footing, but he does a good job of staying up for the short gain. They give him a gain of 7 officially. Makes it a 2nd down and 3. This time they put Etchema in the slot. And they go across the middle. Caven Jackson makes the reception. Caven Jackson could get in. Touchdown! Touchdown for the Cougars. And the Cougars respond beautifully. And now they've got a chance to tie it up with 2:45 left here in the contest. After being shut out for the first 3 quarters, the Cougars have come back to put 16 points on the board thus far. But the all-important big extra point attempt is coming up.
Could they go for 2 is the question, Rufus.
No, I think you're going to kick this, Jason. I think you can bet the wrench on the kick here. Here's the snap. The kick is up, and it's good.
Woo!
So with 2:45 left.
I had to run for a second, Rufus, but what a great play by Jackson. 33-yard touchdown. As Cummings was in the pocket, another nice slant pass, and Kevin does it himself. Nice play by Caven Jackson. Look at him stretch, dive. Now they can't give up the 53-yard touchdown again. Hope I didn't just jinx them. But
and with the extra point conversion, fans, we've got ourselves a 17-17 ball game with 2:45 left. And the Cougar faithful are back in the game again.
So are the Ayala faithful. This is what high school football is all about.
Playoff excitement at its very best as Hector Urbano sets up the kickoff. And again, the Cougar special teams need to make a good play here. You'd like to pin Ayala as deep in their territory as possible. It's going to be a short kick taken by number 20. He's got some running room. Boy, great defensive play there by number 28 for the Cougars, who stepped right in. We don't even have him in the program, but a tip of the hat because he closed down that right side where the return man for Ayala was heading. And if he gets by 28, he's got clear sailing.
Cougar fans can't get too happy because Ayala has a terrific quarterback and a great kicker, as we've seen during these extra points. He's boomed them through. The Cougar defense has to come through in a big way. That means the defensive line has to get a lot of pressure, and the defensive backs can't give up anything big, and they can't give up the trap.
Crowd chanting defense. We've got 2:39 left. Tie ball game. We'll set up the tie-breaking rules for you. Obviously, you're in playoff situation where overtime's become a factor. Frost, the quarterback, keeps it himself, goes around the right side, picks up about 6, maybe 7 on the carry.
Clock will move on anything that doesn't go out of bounds. It'll stop to reset the change, but the clock will move after that with 2:22 and ticking.
So
I think Frost turned the wrong way. Nope, that was just a design boot from the get-go. And they tried to catch the Cougars napping, which they did, but Jermaine Chapman, showing that speed of his, came down to make a great play.
So it's a 2nd down and 4 for Ayala now. 2:20, clock running. Actually 2 minutes with the clock running left in the contest.
Vea.
Nothing doing to keep it on the ground. And a lot of Cougars in on the stop, including Corey Thetford, William Vea, and J.R. Mawala. The heart of that Cougar defensive line makes the big play.
Now the question is for the Cougars, if they stop them on 3rd down, they get the ball back on 4th. The Cougar defense needs to come through right here, right now.
3rd and 4th with a minute and a half and clock running left in the contest. Ayala not showing any inclination to rush itself here. Frost fakes, Frost drops back the pass, and he lets it go, nearly intercepted there by J.R. Mawala. J.R. took a good shot at it, just got by him.
Kenny Finau has been getting burned a couple times off of the play action, but he makes the biggest play of his life right here by not letting Frost boot out of the pocket. He says, I am not buying it. Take a look. It's a nice fake. He sticks the ball out there, but Finau's not biting, and the Cougars are going to get it back. See, Mawala almost intercepted it, almost put the Cougars in great scoring position.
And the Cougars are going to get this ball, have an opportunity to get it back with just over a minute left.
Rufus, this is key. The Cougars, it will be well to their benefit to score right here and put this game, score with no time on the clock right here. No way do these coaches want to go into overtime.
And there you see the situation, fans. Let's recap it for you right here at Hellcat Field. You've got a tie ball game at 17. The Cougars have put up 17 points here in the fourth quarter. Fourth down for Ayala. They've got an injured player down on the field. Of course, this gives the Cougar defense a much-needed rest that they should be taking advantage of. Actually, this is their special teams. Also gives the defense a rest as well.
She into this ball game or what? Certainly into those seeds. Woo! We cannot wait, Rufus, for this 1 minute, 9 seconds to play out right now.
And the injured player for Ayala was Jeff Barber, a senior 5'11" offensive lineman. They help him off the field.
Last year, Ayala scored 21 fourth quarter points to put the Cougars out of the playoffs. This time the Cougars score 17.
High snap. They get the punt away. Ayala showing good coverage. Jermaine Chapman retreating. And great coverage there by Ayala to contain Chapman on the return. Gave up a lot of ground to get the ball. And the Cougars are going to set up at their own 25-yard line with 1:01 left in regulation.
It's a minute and 1 left. Cougars, I believe, have 2 timeouts, Rufus. So Dan Robbins has one of 2 choices. He can either try and go to drive the ball down the field and get a field goal with a minute and 1 left, or he can be happy and content with this tie score going into overtime. And I will explain the overtime rules if need be.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Cougars from their own 25-yard line. We've got a tie ball game at 17, fans. Cougars with a chance to win here. But they've got to be smart about it. You can't turn it over. They put it up in the air, and it's incomplete.
I think Chapman thought that the defensive back was going to intercept that ball. He turned into the defender, so he really stopped trying to get a beat on the ball and then finally tried to readjust to that ball. That's a tough play to make for young Jermaine. Good decision, though, to play the defensive man. Take another look at it. If the play action, I don't know how many people you're going to fool right now, but Chapman, take a look. He turns it to the defender. Look, he turns and looks back at the defender to see if he doesn't have a chance to intercept it.
So it's a 2nd down and 10 for the Cougars now. Once again, Cummins drops back the pass, goes over the middle. Pass intended for Caven Jackson as he threw into double coverage. And risked the interception there.
Now definitely the Cougars need to run the ball right here. Run the ball. Hopefully Ayala will take a timeout or something like that. But the Cougars definitely need to run the ball. It's 3rd down and 10. You want to get Ayala either to lose a timeout or take a lot of time off of that clock.
Well, we'll see the play the Cougars come up with here on the 3rd and 10.
Trap to Brandy Russell wouldn't be a bad idea right here, Rufus. But they can't fumble it. They cannot turn it over.
Ayala obviously hoping to get the ball back with a shot here. They keep it on the ground to Achema, and he's going to be way short. He picks up 5, but he's going to be about 5 short.
Just as we predicted, Ayala's going to burn that timeout. The Cougars ran the ball. So Ayala will have 1 timeout remaining in 43 seconds. The pressure is on Mr. Caven Jackson right here to get off a good punt.
And knowing the Cougars playbook as you do, do you believe, is it possible that Coach Robbins may go in that playbook and come up with a trick here this deep in his own territory?
No, because if he does, I'm going to send him to Norwalk with my aunt and to the insane asylum, Rufus. No way he's going for it right here. No way. Rufus, he goes for it, I'm leaving. If he goes for it, I am leaving.
Well, I like how you that's what I like. I like how you started out with that. Yeah. When you say I'm going to buy, I'm listening. Because that's not something we hear come out of your mouth often. So, anyway, with 43 seconds left, fans, it's a 4th and 5 for the Cougars. They show punt. They've got Caven Jackson back to punt.
No way they'll go for it right here, Rufus. No way in Howcap they'll go for it.
Well, Andre Cummins, the quarterback, number 3, is a short man. I'm sure Ayala's expecting it. They see him. And he does. Well, he kicks it away. And it takes a great Cougar roll down to the 21-yard line. So, with 42 seconds left, Ayala.
They're banging on the press box because they didn't start the clock. Remember that from last week? They didn't start the clock. Hey, I'm getting out of here. Hey, Rufus, that was almost disaster. I knew the Cougars couldn't have gone for it right there.
Well, they certainly brought some excitement to the punting game. And now with 37 seconds left, Ayala will be punting. Ayala goes on offense, 1st and 10 from their own 21-yard line. They've got 79 yards of real estate to negotiate in 37 seconds. Otherwise, we're looking at overtime right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. We got 37 seconds left in the contest. I just call what I see, and the board says 37 seconds here, fans. Frost, the quarterback. Frost drops back to pass. And pass incomplete. Good-looking pass over there to his intended receiver, number 7.
Cougars need to have some extra defensive backs into this ball game. It's time for prevent. Take another look. Frost's pass is a beauty, and you just dropped it. You just can't make those type of plays in the playoffs.
I believe Chapman may have gotten in his line of vision at the last second there, Jason, which caused the receiver to drop the ball. But you're right, that was a big drop.
Looks like they're just going to sit on it, Rufus.
And that's what they do on that play. I think they may have to run one more play before regulation is over with.
I think Hawthorne called time. Yep, they did. Rufus, Hawthorne called timeout. Now, quick quiz. How many they have left? I believe 1. So Hawthorne can get the ball back. And we've seen the bus Tui Pelotu do some good things on the punt return.
Well, there are a lot of things that could happen here in this next 25 seconds. Because I think you're looking at a very strong possibility of overtime. And since we do have the timeout, why don't you go ahead and set up the overtime picture for us, Jason?
All right, it's a lot like college. You get a set of downs from your 10-yard line, and instead of the 25, though. The California tiebreakers, Rufus, you get 4 plays, you get a set of downs because you may get a penalty but it all starts from the 10-yard line. And each team gets a series. Whoever has the most points after a series wins.
So the key, fans, is that the difference is that unlike the NFL.
They faked it.
And he hits his intended receiver.
No!
Boy, if this thing is like this is going to be awful for the Cougars. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. No flags on the play. The play stands past to Billy Wagner from Frost, the quarterback.
Ball's down at the 17, Rufus. They said he stepped out of bounds. He did not score. They said he stepped out of bounds. The ball is down at the 17. I cannot believe what I just saw.
And
There's
that's
no score. He stepped out of bounds. He stepped out of bounds, so the clock will stop.
We've got 13 seconds left, fans. In the contest, it's going to be 1st and 10 for Ayala at the Cougar 17-yard line.
The kicker is in, Rufus. Last week, the Cougars won on a missed field goal with no time left. High drama once again from Hellcat.
I don't know. I think if you're Ayala, Ayala must be out of timeouts because you can certainly run one more.
Cougars shouldn't call timeouts. Let them kick this.
13 and 7. This is
it'll be a 34-yard field goal. It'll be a 34-yard field goal, Rufus. I cannot believe what I just saw. And we are about to see the very eerie replay of that right here on Channel 6. That's the drop pass. That's
because on the play, and it'll come in a second. What you saw was a quarterback Frost fake that he was going to take a knee. Cougars bid on it. He went down the sideline and came up with the huge gain.
Oh, that puts the Cougars out of the playoffs, Rufus. If that puts the Cougars out of the playoffs, that's going to be something.
It would be very ironic more than anything else because you talk about the master of trick plays being Dan Robbins, and boy, to think that the Cougars would have gotten bitten on a trick play.
Oh, I just cannot believe this. I just cannot believe this, Rufus. Hold on to your neighbor next to you. Hold on, everybody in the truck. This is for the game right here, tie game, 34 yards.
This is Tyler Bengard to attempt the field goal. It's a high snap. They get it up, and it's good.
No!
The indication is that it's good from the official over on that side. I don't see any argument from number 5, Courtney Ketter, who's over there. Ketter didn't argue at all on the call by the side judge who was back there in position to watch it.
No,
and with 8 seconds left. With 8 seconds left, the Cougars right now have got to come up with a huge special teams play. 34-yard field goal by number 1, Tyler Bengard. And that was about all it went, was 34 yards.
I do not believe the events that have taken place within the last 30 playing seconds here.
And that looked wide right. If we could see that again, fans, I think the Cougar faithful and a bunch of us really thought that was going to be either wide or short.
Oh,
but they put the 3 points up on the board with 8 seconds left, and now Ayala leads by a score of 20-17.
You can hear a pin drop on this home side. I cannot believe the events that have taken place. This is a terrible way to go out if you are a senior.
Well, the Cougars put 17 points on the board here in the fourth quarter, but unfortunately they've given up 10, and right now they trail by 3 with 8 seconds left in this playoff game.
Okay, they'll probably swift kick it. No.
Well, they kick it away, and they're going to let it sail out of bounds, and it does actually. It's not a touchback. Cougars will get it at, what, the 35-yard line?
I don't know if we're going to see the replay of the field goal or not, Rufus, but this is just unbelievable. We're going to look at the long pass that set up the field goal. Take another look. The Cougars just expect them to put it on the knee. The end goes out and takes it down the sideline. Billy Wagner. Courtney Ketter had good position. Wagner with an outstanding catch. Kettner falls. Keith Green almost saves the day for the Cougars to knock him out of bounds right there.
Great call by the official. He did step on. You saw the chalk fly there. So when the Ayala fans see that, they'll know that they didn't get cheated on the play.
They won't think about that one more time. All they know is they are winning 20-17. It ain't over till it's over, though. What an unbelievable way to end a football game. We still have 8 seconds left.
So Ayala to kick it off again, this time from the 35-yard line.
This has to be one of the best fourth quarters we've ever seen on any level, Rufus.
And it's all brought to you by Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Return's going to be taken by Kaven Jackson. Kaven Jackson looking for a hole. He's got some running room. That's Etchema. I'm sorry. Thought it was Jackson. Etchema takes it to midfield. You've got 1 second left.
We saw the Cougars catch 2 Hail Marys earlier in the season against, I believe it was North or West Torrance. So Ketter is one of the guys that can catch it, and so is Kaven Jackson.
Well, you're going to need a little bit more than Hail Mary on this. You're going to need Hail Mary and all of her sisters if you expect to pull this one back. Let's look how many men the Bulldogs are dropping into the defensive backfield.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Take a look at the defensive backfield. Kind of resembles a kick return team, but they just don't want anything close to a touchdown. But
right,
the Cougars may want to pass interference.
So they're going to rush 4 men. They'll probably drop one of those back. The idea is not to let any of the receivers get behind you. 1 second left in the game. They send a man in motion. Andre Cummins drops back to pass. Heavy pursuit. And ironically, that's how the season will end, on a sack for Cummins. However, fans, what a great season it was, and what a lot of excitement that these Cougars gave us here during the 1997 campaign. But it's going to come to an end for them by a score of 20-17 as the Ayala Bulldogs come down here and withstand the Cougar pressure of the Cougars putting 17 points on the board in the fourth quarter. But a couple of huge plays by Ayala gets them back into it, the biggest of which late in the fourth quarter. They faked the kneel down. They hit it for a big pass, puts them in field goal position after the score was tied, and they win by a score of 20-17. But, boy, you talk about giving your fans some excitement, Jason. The Cougars gave their fans a year's worth tonight.
This play is the beheading of the Cougars. Poor Cougars. It's too bad for them to have to end their season on this play right here. We're going to take another look at the big pass, the fake kneel down play by the Cougars, or pardon me, by Ayala. Fake the kneel down and just a Hail Mary pass. Caught, unbelievable catch by Billy Wagner, and a good job to knock him out of bounds by Keith Green. That shows some great heart. The pass is a beautiful one that's right on the money. Take a look at the fake. Or pardon me, this is the last play. This is the play that these seniors will see the end of their season off of. Terrell doesn't open up and block the end. Etchema is going out to get a pass, so the Cougars season ends like that. And that is an unbelievable way to end it. Unbelievable, Rufus.
And unfortunately for a lot of seniors, you're right, Jason, they've just played their last game for the Cougars, and it ends on a down note, but it was a great run. A season that got off to a bit of a rocky start. They got the ship righted. They came back, became competitive at the end of the season, advanced to the second round of the 97 playoffs. But for a lot of these Cougars, like Brandy Russell, Keith Green, Andre Cummins, Jermaine Chapman, Corey Thetford, Tony TNT Terrell, and so many others, this was their last go-around. And it ends on a sad but positive note. You look at the whole picture, and in the whole picture, Jason, it was a great season indeed for the Cougars to finish out at 8-4, advance into the second round of the playoffs. It's also been our pleasure here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. We got to give shout-outs to all of our guys, fans, who've made these productions possible over the last 10 weeks for you. That includes Billy Barnes, who's not here tonight, and a whole bunch of other folks. Help me out. Ali Santana.
There's Jose Bravo. He went to Hawthorne. He's probably crying right now.
There you see our premier cameraman, Jose Bravo, Robert Medina, Ali Santana, Billy Barnes, Harmon George, and, of course, our technical director, Tom Strickfadden. the executive director and
Al
producer
Davis. Al Davis.
of Channel 60 Sports. There you see Mr. Santana. A whole bunch of folks working here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 have made these productions possible. It's been great. Jason Miller has been with me all season here in the booth. And for the entire family at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60, we share the disappointment of tonight's Hawthorne loss, but we look forward to bringing you basketball next, right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60, and we sign off with the final score in the second round, Ayala 20, Hawthorne 17. I'm Rufus Washington for everybody at Channel 60, saying it's been our pleasure, and we'll see you next football season.